The protagonist was considered a failure who couldn't get into university. But in the first physical fitness test, he unleashed a blow that blew away all 15 one-meter-thick walls, which left the teacher and the students completely stunned. Later, during the strength and endurance test, he was looked down on again. Two guys were brawling, and whoever collapsed first would lose. The one known for having the hardest head challenged him. As a result, the protagonist just casually flicked his hand and sent the guy flying 100 meters, knocking him out cold. It's all because the protagonist never expected to be framed and turned into a sacrifice to be devoured by a dragon god. Not only did he not die, but through a bloodline binding technique, whenever he takes any pain or damage, 100% of it is synced to the dragon god's body. As long as the dragon god doesn't die, he can revive infinitely. But this makes life for the human form dragon god a living hell. Whether she was taking a bath or fishing, she would spontaneously bleed from all 7 orifices. To minimize the synced damage, she tossed the protagonist a cultivation technique scroll. Just as its name implied, it worked on any technique. The moment the protagonist saw a move, he could instantly replicate it. While others trained painstakingly for 3 years to master a move, the protagonist only needed one look to comprehend it. Its power was even boosted several times over. Turns out the protagonist was the last of a line of cultivators, but his talent was so awful that his powers never awakened. His girlfriend of 3 months grew to despise him and dumped him right in front of everyone at the company. When the department director Zhang Jitian found out about this, he immediately changed his usual attitude, grabbed a water pouch, and went up to the rooftop to find the protagonist, who thought the director was the type with a sharp tongue but a soft heart. But after just a few sips, the protagonist felt dizzy. A second later, he passed out and collapsed. When he opened his eyes, he found himself chained up. It wasn't because the director had some kinky fetish, but because the protagonist possessed an ancient spiritual bloodline, making him the absolute perfect sacrifice. As a reward, the dragon god also granted the director a core condensation pill for his cultivation. "Do you have any last words before you die?" The protagonist just sighed. "Your breath is foul. How about you go brush your teeth before you eat me?" The dragon god was pissed off by the kid's remark and took a bite out of him. To punish him, the dragon god chose to eat slowly, chewing carefully. The immense pain made the protagonist's face contort. Looking a bit dazed, his strong will to survive erupted, accidentally unlocking his ancient bloodline's hack. He also successfully activated the forbidden art Life and Death Symbiosis. It places a death mark on the protagonist's enemy, while the protagonist himself becomes the life mark. All damage received by the life mark will be synced to the death mark. Moreover, as long as the death mark host doesn't die, the life mark will always be resurrected. The second art is Dual Annihilation. Once this life and death art is used, the life and death hosts will perish together. Neither can survive unless there's an intervention from a top-tier celestial art from an outside party. After reviewing all the information, the protagonist was sent back to his classroom. Before he could even figure out what was going on, a foot slammed onto his desk. A bully threatened that he had to pay protection money every month. If not, he'd flick his junk in front of everyone. After saying that he tried to show off by flash-stepping downstairs, but the protagonist wasn't about to let him go and landed a blow on his leg. It sent the guy flying from the 6th floor straight to the ground. His face even smashed into the dirt, creating a huge crater. The other students just thought it was a pity. If this guy had died, their class rankings would have moved up a spot. But this guy Zhang Jibai, I practiced the 100 Refinements Iron Body technique. A fall like this couldn't hurt him at all. A moment later, he got up from the crater, pointed to the sky, and yelled, "See me at the school gate after class." Hearing this, a green-haired student advised the protagonist to run because this Zhang Jibai was a notorious bully from a powerful family. The last person who stood up to him has long been pushing up daisies. After class, the bully and his cronies waited for the protagonist in an alley. However, the protagonist wasn't scared of them at all and walked right up to them. Seeing the protagonist's fearless expression, the bully got a little worried, wondering if he'd run into a wolf in sheep's clothing. "A big group of cowards too scared to wait at the school gate, huh? You made me come all the way out here. Come on, hit me." Hearing the protagonist's challenge, the platinum-haired guy threw a kick that seemingly killed the protagonist on the spot. "You weak piece of crap, still trying to act tough in front of us." The long-haired guy walked over, smirking mockingly. "That was a kick from a 5th-level body refinement realm. Your internal organs must be mush by now. You won't live much longer." However, the protagonist said it didn't hurt at all. "You can't even hit hard yet. You're trying to act like a gangster." The long-haired guy got pissed. You're about to die, and you're still posturing I'm gonna kick your head in right now. But all that was heard was a thwack. His powerful kick hit nothing but air. The buzzcut guy saw a kick flying towards his head and immediately broke into a cold sweat. By the time the long-haired guy reacted, he was letting out a blood-curdling scream. He fell to the ground, rolling around and clutching his leg. In a flash, a silver-haired girl had appeared in front of the protagonist. Seeing this, the buzzcut guy pulled out his weapon and used his ultimate move. He unleashed an explosion directly on the girl. The shockwave was so powerful that the buildings in the alley were affected. When the dust settled, the sight left the two of them speechless. The girl hadn't moved an inch as she took the blow. Not only was she unharmed, but she had even managed to cast a barrier to protect the surrounding buildings. Zhang Jibai shrewdly sensed that their opponent was no ordinary person. He yelled for the other two to run, but just as the words left his mouth, the buzzcut guy exploded on the spot. Seeing this, he collapsed to the ground. He clearly wanted to run, but his legs had lost all their strength. It turns out the girl was the dragon god. She was originally enjoying tea and playing chess in the celestial palace when her body suddenly started bleeding. Using her divine sense, she discovered a death mark on her hand. However, despite her divine powers, she couldn't remove it no matter what she tried. So she had no choice but to come to the mortal realm to find the protagonist. But the protagonist said he had no idea how to remove it. Hearing this, the dragon lady immediately flew into a rage, grabbed the protagonist, and started furiously slamming him into the ground. A second later, the dragon lady spat out a mouthful of blood because all the damage was shared. So the more she hit the protagonist, the more damage she took. Realizing this wasn't a solution, the dragon girl planned to go back first and then slowly figure out how to break this curse. Seeing this, the protagonist immediately stopped her. You already ate me last time. I'm just looking for a little compensation. That's not too much to ask, is it? The dragon girl asked coldly. And what if I refuse? The protagonist just smirked and threatened her. If she refused, he would soak himself in sulfuric acid and die over and over, forcing her to frantically bleed syrup. To stop him from getting any bad ideas, she had no choice but to toss him a pre-use cultivation technique manual. Although it couldn't guarantee he'd become an immortal, it could at least ensure he'd pass his exam. He'd get into a top university and wouldn't have to worry about a thing. Meanwhile, Trong Trebok was still trembling in a corner, his head pressed against the wall, not daring to breathe too loudly. For this kind of weakling, the dragon girl couldn't be bothered to kill him. She used her powers to erase all of his memories from that day. By the time he woke up, it was the next morning, and his physical training teacher was explaining the test rules. The test was on penetrating destructive force. Along the track, there would be over 10 1-meter-thick reinforced earthen walls. It didn't matter if you were a chi cultivator or a physical cultivator. As long as you broke through one wall, you would pass, and the student who ranked last would be considered for expulsion. The first one to be tested was the hooligan Trong Trebok. He was seen taking a spear and throwing it forward. Boom, boom, boom! The spear pierced through 5 of the reinforced earthen walls. His result was considered to be at the peak life and death level of physical training, because a normal person at most, Boson, could only break through 3. The next person to be tested was the protagonist. The proctoring teacher didn't even give him a second glance, certain that if his score wasn't up to par, he'd be expelled. However, the protagonist wasn't worried at all because they were merely physical and chi cultivators. He, on the other hand, was an immortal cultivator who directly used the pre-use technique, Black Underworld Palm Core Lightning. Seeing the protagonist step up empty-handed, the old teacher sneered, "Coming up empty-handed. Are you preparing for the shot put event?" Don't tell me our class has produced a top-tier student who can create things out of thin air. Amidst the whole class's sarcastic laughter, the protagonist raised his hand and created a dark red orb of black lightning. He then threw it forward with all his might. A second later, all 15 earthen walls were pierced straight through. It left the old teacher completely speechless, his jaw agape. But what was even more incredible was, the dark energy ball showed no signs of stopping. It flew continuously up into the sky, finally disappearing completely when it hit the defensive barrier. The old teacher heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, the earthen walls had weakened the power of the Palm Core Lightning. If it had flown past the barrier and hit someone, it would have been a huge mess, but even so, the protagonist's achievement was enough to be recorded in the school's history books. Everyone began to think he was a prodigy, with innate talent or perhaps a blood relative from some great sect. But as soon as class ended, the protagonist sprinted home. Because this pre-use cultivation technique manual had a side effect. He had to complete the corresponding cultivation practice within a specified time. Otherwise, his cultivation level would be reduced, and it could even weaken his bloodline. The manual for this Black Underworld Palm Core lightning technique. He had bought it before, but now he couldn't find it anywhere. With no other choice, he had to spend $200,000 on Shopee, then went to a back mountain to continue his training. After 6 hours of non-stop practice, he finally completed his cultivation debt, with only 30 seconds to spare. Just as the protagonist was feeling proud, his heart suddenly went thump and stopped beating. Turns out the protagonist trained so hard that he died on the spot. But luckily, he could resurrect infinitely. This was just a pain for the Dragon King in the heavens who had just finished his bath, when his body started to bleed red syrup non-stop again. The next day's test began. This time, it was a test of palm strength and damage resistance, which basically meant 2 people would wail on each other. Whoever fell first would lose. However, this was Trong Trebok's greatest strength. His 100 refined iron technique had allowed him to dominate the other students. This semester, even when the strongest student, Trio Diet Kai, unleashed his palm strike, he couldn't make him fall. On the contrary, he himself was knocked unconscious by Trong Trebok. It turns out the techniques in this world were divided into 2 types: open-source techniques and copyrighted techniques. Trio Diet Kai's steel-breaking palm was an open-source technique. It was a technique anyone could practice. But Trong Trebok's 100 refined iron technique was a copyrighted one. A normal person who wanted to learn it would have to request permission from the Copyright Bureau. Practicing without permission would lead to corresponding legal responsibilities and could even get you hunted down and your entire sect annihilated. Soon it was the protagonist's turn to go up for the test. However, he said there was no need to take turns. Everyone can just come at me at once, after saying that he pre-used the steel-breaking palm. Trong Trebok confidently met the strike. Who would have thought the protagonist would suddenly change his technique, pre-using Trong Trebok's own 100 refined steel technique? In just a second, Trong Trebok was sent flying 100 meters by the protagonist, getting stuck firmly to the wall, unable to break free. Everyone watching was left gaping on the spot. The proctoring teacher also had a dazed look on his face, but he still recognized that the protagonist had just used the basic move of the steel-breaking palm. Then he added a little bit of 100 refined steel. Wasn't that the Trong family's copyrighted technique? It has an extremely high threshold and is incredibly difficult to cultivate. Illegally learning a copyrighted technique would lead to the annihilation of one's clan. Isn't this kid afraid at all? Thinking of this, the teacher immediately turned into a bootlicker and respectfully asked the protagonist which great master he was. Hearing this, the protagonist leaned close to his ear and told him 3 words: the Dragon King. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Trong Trebok's older brother Trong Trethian was holding a picture of the protagonist, observing it carefully. He thought to himself, I can't believe this kid isn't dead. Could it be that brutal Dragon King showed him mercy? After confirming the next test was poison-making and poison-testing, a wicked plan formed in his mind. Meanwhile, the protagonist, knowing nothing, was still busy, slapping cars one by one in a scrapyard. He was cultivating his techniques and earning a little living money at the same time. It was truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But he wanted to supplement his techniques. I still need to take 20 more hits. Just then, an assassin called out to the main character. So you're Hei Shin, huh? Young Master Zhang sent me here to teach you a lesson. At this, the main character, looking as happy as a clam, eagerly urged him to hurry up and get on with it. I was already frustrated about not completing the mission. And seeing the main character who just entered the Spirit Induction Realm show no fear of me, a 9th-level Spirit Induction Realm master, sweat dripped down his forehead. He threw a test punch, sending the main character flying over 100 meters. Turns out he's just a novice. He couldn't even withstand a single casual blow. After saying that, he launched a continuous flurry of small jabs, but the bizarre thing was no matter how he attacked, the main character's face still wore a dorky smile. The assassin, on the verge of a mental breakdown, decisively unleashed a major technique. 3 punches in 1 second, all of them fatal blows. He thought he could finish off the main character, but just a second later, the main character revived. The assassin was in complete shock. With such a fast recovery speed, not even a peak-level Spirit Induction Realm healer could do that. He immediately followed up with a blade, his final attack. This was just what was needed for the main character's 100 forged iron to be successfully supplemented. After completing his task, the main character began his counterattack. First, a Thunder Palm Core Strike. While the assassin was off guard, he combined his steel-severing palm and 100 forged steel. He struck his opponent's abdomen with a single palm, sending the assassin flying 1,000 meters, crashing violently through 3 large trees before finally coming to a stop. The meridians in his body were almost completely severed. He had no choice but to circulate his energy to heal. Suddenly, his face was illuminated by a red glow. Looking down, he discovered the Thunder Palm core was still in his hand. No matter how he tried, he couldn't throw it away. A second later, he was engulfed by the explosion, leaving behind only a pair of sunglasses. The main character put them on and discovered they were a magical artifact that could enhance his dynamic perception. It made it much easier to see fast-moving objects. Early the next morning, the 3rd round of the alchemy exam officially began. The test's content was poison crafting and poison identification. On everyone's table were identical items. They had to eat all the non-poisonous portions within the time limit and also select the poisonous ones. The final score would be based on speed and accuracy. Bonus points would be awarded for naming the poisons. Zhang Jibai smirked because he had already arranged for someone to put poison in all of the main character's items. In other words, no matter what he ate, he would eventually be poisoned to death. A soft fishing rod bends against the blue sky, dropping its line down a cliff as if beginning a peaceful fishing trip. The Dragon King was leisurely fishing with her legs crossed. She muttered to herself, "Life after deification is getting more and more boring. So boring I can only, Suddenly blood poured from her eyes and nose, but the Dragon King's expression remained calm. Cut to Haishin's location. Back to 5 minutes earlier. With hands as swift as sand, Haishin was rapidly shoving the food from his tray into his mouth. Seeing him gobble down all the food in a flash, Qingyan said, "You actually ate it all, student. What are you doing? Do you realize you could die?" Fortunately, I anticipated this. That there would be an idiot like you, so I strictly controlled the dosage. Don't worry, it won't be fatal, but you should prepare yourself for diarrhea. Over here, Jibai laughed sinisterly. "Ha ha, you're overthinking it. There was poison in every dish. This time it's enough to kill you 5 times over. Ha ha ha!" As the poison took effect, blood gushed from Haishin's eyes and mouth. Seeing this, Qingyan turned pale, her eyes wide with absolute horror as the poison spread throughout his body. It caused Haishin to lose his balance and collapse to the floor. Panicked, Qingyan called out, "Student!" She rushed to his side, thinking, "He's dead." The surrounding students started whispering, "He's dead." Oh God, the school's going to be on the front page of the news tomorrow. Front page for what? The guy who died isn't from a major sect, nor is he a top scholar. It's actually quite common for a student to drop dead around graduation every year, you know. This is great, I'm ranked 19th right below him. Now that he's dead, does that mean I can move up a rank? Qingyan thought, this is bad. My professional evaluation will definitely be affected by this. Who had the absolute nerve to pull a stunt during my exam? Could it be that PE teacher? He's competing with me for this evaluation. He's the most likely suspect. At that moment, an illusion of Haishin stood before her, wiping the blood from his face and calling her name. Qingyan saw Haishin suddenly sit up, utterly astonished. How are you alive? She muttered to herself, in all my years of teaching, I've never encountered anything like this. Is it a disadvantage faking death or this student's revival magic? He even managed to fool me. Haishin held up 5 fingers and said, "All 5 types of food were poisoned. They are respectively intestine melting powder." 3 characters appeared in his left palm. 5-step field, he said. The last one is lineage-ending poison. Seeing this, Jibai was shocked and muttered to himself, "This can't be right." To ensure there were no mistakes, I specifically found a poison expert from the sect at the True Condensation Realm. I had this kid's background investigated long ago. It was a blank slate. He's a complete nobody. So how in the world did he survive the poison of a True Condensation Realm master? That evening, upon returning home, in her laboratory, Qingyan was researching a certain substance. A close-up on an experiment. A blue liquid glows, flickering around her as she whispers, "The analysis of Haishin's blood sample is finally complete. The results are exactly as I thought." This isn't a poison that PE teacher could use. Not something a meathead with a simple mind could concoct. This was made by a condensation realm poison master. It even took me half the night to fully analyze it. Thanyan opens her eyes, speculating, has some kind of monster appeared? That night, the lights are still on inside the bookstore. Haishin looks at the books and speaks to the Dragon King. I can't believe there's a way to talk like this. The Dragon King, sitting in a bathtub, looks at her hand and says, "This is your forbidden bloodline technique, yet you didn't even know how to use it. You're foolish enough as it is. Our blood is linked together. From now on, we can use this method for emergency contact." Heishin uses a pen to write on his hand. This kind of secret communication. Don't you gods have a more advanced way to communicate with mortals, The Dragon King replies, you think being a god is so liberating. To humanity, we are the equivalent of walking nuclear weapons. Every single move is monitored by that archer in the sky. I already descended to the mortal realm without permission. If I carelessly make contact with a human and he finds out, there will be divine trouble for me. Heishin continues writing, then can you at least tell me where I can get some top-tier treasures? She frowns. Everything I'm allowed to let you know is already integrated into that cultivation manual I gave you before. Just follow the hints in there. Suddenly, drops of blood from his hand fall onto the floor. The bookstore employee sees this and exclaims, hey, I know high school students are under a lot of academic pressure, but you don't have to resort to self-harm inside a bookstore, do you? Now I'm the one who's going to have to clean up that blood on the floor. He replies, sorry about that. I'll clean up the blood stain in a bit. I actually wanted to ask about some books. She asks, what books? Heishin answers, I'm a junior in high school now. If I want to try and reach the condensation realm, are there any good supplementary books you'd recommend? She's surprised. The college entrance exams are still almost a year away, and you're already preparing to break through to the condensation realm. Heishin hesitates. Is the condensation realm that difficult? The employee explains, are you really a high school senior? Your common sense is seriously lacking. Anyone who can break through to the condensation realm by the time of the college entrance exams is guaranteed a spot in a top-tier university. If you could break through to the condensation realm right now, you could apply for direct admission. She then pulls a few books from the shelf and says, students these days have such high ambitions, but such little skill. She holds up 3 books in front of him. These are the 3 bestsellers in the store. It would already be impressive if you could fully grasp what's in these. However, Heishin doesn't wait for the employee to finish. He grabs one book, walks straight to the counter, and slams it on the desk. This one. The employee is helpless. Well, you weren't going to listen to my advice anyway, were you? Suit yourself, then. He then takes the book and flips through the pages as fast as the wind all the way to the very last one. The employee is curious. Such a difficult book. And he flips straight to the last page. This isn't just having high ambitions, this is someone who thinks he's already an enlightened master. This kid is a lost cause. Heishin stands there, casually hands in his pockets, reading the book. To break through to the condensation realm, one must first reach the 10th level of chi refining or body refining. A condensation pill is also required to assist the breakthrough. This process can cause severe internal injuries due to the eruption of spiritual energy in the body. Therefore, a large supply of top-grade healing medicines and foundation-strengthening tonics is needed. Not to mention the immense cost, there is also a risk of sudden death during the condensation process. After reading, he strokes his chin and thinks, got it. All I need to do is prepare a condensation pill and head over to Chi-Bai's place. At that moment, inside his house, his voice echoes outside, how do you do your job, huh? A poison master from the condensation realm, and you can't even kill a high school student. His henchman bows his head and explains, young Master Zhang, please calm down. There must have been some kind of mistake. Give me one more chance and I'll definitely make sure he's dead for good. Chi-Bai sits on the sofa cracking his knuckles resentfully. His overall ranking has already climbed to 10th in the class. I refuse to let that thorn in my side have it so easy. Humph. I'll give you one more week. If you can't kill him by then, you can come see me with your head. Suddenly a strange noise comes from the ceiling. He looks up. At that moment, Heishin is holding a sword breaking through the ceiling. He dives down face to face with Chi-Bai. Not long before, a guard was keeping a strict watch outside his eyes, scanning in all directions. He suddenly sees his colleague's body already taken down, lying motionless on the ground. The guard realizes there's an intruder and that he must report it quickly. He barely lets out a shout before he's immediately struck on the back of the neck by Heishin. After taking out another one, he continues to infiltrate the villa. In the blink of an eye, he has dealt with all the guards outside. Heishin stands on the rooftop. He focuses pinpointing the source of the sound inside the house. I'll give you one more week. If you still can't kill him, then bring me your head. He has found his target. Without a moment's hesitation, he raises his powerful arm. Heishin smashes straight through 2 sturdy floors of the house. Chi-Bai, sitting right below, is confused by the unusual noise coming from above his head. He doesn't have to wait long as Heishin breaks through the ceiling. Diving down precisely where Bak was sitting, Haktan drove his sword straight through Bak's body, piercing through the chair as well. He landed gently on the chair with the blade pinning him down. It pierced Bak's shoulder. The pain made his entire body tremble. In agony, Bak tried to launch a counterattack, but Haktun easily blocked it, knocking him back. He was sent flying straight into a wall with terrifying force. Bak's body slammed against the wall, shaking the entire house. At that very moment, a barrage of sharp needles was shot straight at him. From behind, Haktun easily blocked the needles with just one hand. He glared, his sharp gaze flicking backward. Haktun immediately blocked the subordinate's feint attack. At the moment of impact, the man pressed a button on his weapon, and a needle shot out from it, aiming straight for his eye. Haktun quickly tilted his head to dodge, but it still managed to graze his cheek. The subordinate then quickly retreated to create distance from Haktun. He spoke up. "You're that 12th grade student from before. Lucky you weren't poisoned to death by me, huh? I was just about to come looking for you. I didn't expect you to serve yourself up on a silver platter. That needle just now was coated with something that isn't child's play like what you faced in the exam. This time I used a secret family formula. Its toxicity is incomparable to anything you've seen before. Just you wait, kid. You're going to die a miserable death." He didn't bother to reply, simply casting a cold, sharp glare at the subordinate. The man grew uneasy, thinking to himself, what's with that contemptuous look? Haktun ignored the man and lunged straight for Bak. Before Bak could even compose himself, he watched in horror as the blade aimed straight for him. Haktun's eyes were wide, his gaze filled with coldness and overwhelming killing intent. Haktun decisively thrust forward. Bak nimbly dodged the strike aimed at his head. He continued to swing his sword, not letting him escape so easily. Suddenly, Haktun sensed danger. He glanced over. It was more poisoned needles from the subordinate. The man's face darkened, radiating killing intent as he looked at him. The subordinate roared, "You dare look down on me!" He was extremely doubtful. With a poison this potent, he should have already succumbed and died. But why was he still standing? At that moment, somewhere else, a statue shattered. Back at the battle, the subordinate shouted to Bak, "Young Master Jang, run! I'll cover you with my ink needles." Hearing this, he didn't hesitate for a second, launching himself through the glass window. Bak escaped, leaving behind a shattered window pane. The subordinate immediately unleashed his technique, Poisonous Needle Mist. "No more time to play with you. Let me show you the true terror of the condensation stage." The needles from before began to emit strange green smoke. He quickly covered his nose and coughed a few times. This poisonous smoke was even more intense than the poisoned needles. Haktun was shocked to realize gruesome green veins were starting to appear on his body. His body stiffened and he collapsed onto the floor, his eyes wide open. Seeing this, the man burst out in triumphant laughter. The subordinate said smugly, "And here I thought you were truly immune to all poisons. In the end, you still couldn't withstand my killing move." Another statue shattered. Haktun's eyes suddenly flew open, glowing with a demonic red light. He immediately gripped the sword beside him. Like a gust of wind, Haktun sprang up and delivered a sharp slash to the man's body. The clay statue on the table shattered, making her sigh. "Ever since I started using these clay figures to take hits for him, he doesn't have to be covered in blood all the time anymore." Longvung looked at her pile of clay statues, a little surprised. "But to lose two of them right at the start, looks like he's run into a tough opponent this time." She immediately waved her hand, creating a barrier circle between the clay statues on her side. Haktun slashed his sword powerfully into his opponent's body. As he was struck down, the man was in disbelief. "I'm at the condensation stage, yet I lost to a mere newcomer." At the spirit guidance stage. Right after his body collapsed, creating a large pool of blood, Haktun approached and checked his pulse. It had already stopped. He sat down facing the corpse and couldn't help but whisper, "Hurry up and strip him. If I can't use it, I can at least sell it for some money." Bak ran all the way to the main road before stopping, panting heavily by the roadside. He was gasping for air, but his face showed no fear, only angry exasperation. "I forgot my phone. I'll have to flag down a car and borrow a phone to call for backup." Then his face filled with rage. He gritted his teeth and cursed silently. "That new transfer student! How dare he take revenge! How dare he take revenge on my Zhang family! Just wait until I summon my family's assassins! I won't just kill you, I'll slaughter your entire family!" Just as he finished his thought, Haktun suddenly appeared beside him, raising his sword high, terrifying him. "And who was it you wanted to kill?" The sword in his hand slashed down violently towards Bak. He quickly used his stone-hardening technique, making his body tougher to block Haktun's attack. Bak seized the opportunity to quickly retreat, creating distance from him. Right after, a red orb suddenly appeared, horrifying him. The orb immediately exploded, the shockwave rocking the entire mountain range along this road. Bak was blown far away by the explosion, falling down the side of the mountain range. His body hit the ground below with a loud thud. Haktan gave him no chance to prepare. He immediately brandished his sword and lunged towards Bach. Terrified by his recklessness, Bach hastily shouted, "Wait, I'm the third young master of the Jang family, you can't—" Before he could finish his sentence, his sword slashed horizontally in a clean line. Haktan struck his neck hard, sending his head flying. He playfully juggled 2 red orbs in his hand. He couldn't help but remark, "If Long Voong hadn't taken all the damage for me, you probably would have killed me several times over by now. What's there to say when you're about to die? It's all just pulling the family card to scare people." He used flames to incinerate Sister Bach's entire corpse. Watching the fire blaze before him, Haktan couldn't help but whisper, "Even though I've burned the body to destroy the evidence today, the Zhang family will definitely connect my death and Sister Zhang Bach's whether they have proof or not. Besides, I'm using the Zhang family's exclusive palm technique. It'll be impossible to avoid confronting them in the future." But right after that, he became a bit excited looking at the items in his hand and exclaiming, "Well, the revenge wasn't for nothing. Even though I was in a hurry, I managed to snag a few valuable things. Just the chi-condensing pills alone, there are 3 of them. It's funny that brother of his had to make an offering to the Dragon Queen just to get 1 pill. Looks like the relationships between the scions of the great sects are a real joke. A total joke. There's also quite a bit of gold, silver, jewels, talismans, and all sorts of crafted weapons. I'll sell all this stuff later." Just then, a system notification suddenly rang out. "Keyword cell detected. You might also like the trading system." Haktan was a bit intrigued by the system before him and couldn't help but observe it more closely. Ever since he learned the advanced cultivation technique, these system-like interface panels have been appearing one after another. It's definitely that stinking dragon's doing. This is just ridiculous now. It's just like one of those e-commerce platforms. It even has a "you might also like" section. Right after that, his expression shifted a little worried. "When I get home later, I have to clear my search history immediately." Intrigued, Haktan continuously spun the magic circle that appeared in midair. He immediately selected the sell option. A notification panel popped up as he sold the items. Gazing blade, poisoned golden lotus saber, gold ingots, and other assorted junk have all been sold. Your personal account has received 1,054,178 RMB. Haktan looked at the rotating panel before him, his body trembling slightly. A new notification appeared on it. Sky-splitting saber, 1 million RMB. Haktan found this notification a bit hard to believe. "I only made a grand total of 1,054,000. What kind of high-grade saber are you charging 1 million for? I remember magical artifacts of the same grade being way cheaper on the open market." His hand continued to spin the wheel as he grumbled, "It's not that I can't afford it, it's just not worth the money. Let's see what else is there." The wheel stopped, displaying a new notification. "Storage. Magical artifact, 50,000 RMB, durable tear-resistant pants. The 2 side pockets are storage pouches that can hold many items." Haktan read the information panel. He murmured, "This is actually pretty practical." A moment later, a series of notifications appeared. Spent 1 million RMB. Remaining balance 954,718 RMB. High-grade blood price. The more blood you lose, the stronger your attacks. Swift eye pupils increases visual acuity by 95%, helping you clearly see objects moving at high speed. Impact-resistant t-shirt. This shirt might just be tougher than your own skin. No need to worry about it tearing in a fight. Earth-clinging boots. These boots have extremely strong adhesion. When infused with magical power, they can stick to any surface. The effectiveness of the grip depends on your cultivation level. The next notification brought tears to Haktan's eyes. Spent 950,000 RMB, remaining balance 4,718 RMB. At that moment, the Dragon Queen smirked deviously. She stood on a cliff, cursing contemptuously. "You think I can't kill you, brat? How dare you place a blood curse on me?" Just then, a quiet voice from her side made her jump in surprise. "Your Majesty." A black cat standing beside the Dragon Queen spoke up, explaining how to break that human's blood curse. "We have a lead." The 2 of them stood on a sacrificial altar, hastily activating a magical artifact. The cat carefully channeled its power while explaining, "I've investigated. This brat's bloodline is nothing special. His ancestors could only place blood curses on low-level demon beasts. Those demon beasts couldn't withstand the damage transferred from the host, so his ancestors for several generations all died young in low-level battles. That's why for generations no sect has ever taken them seriously. His family line has no reputation whatsoever in the mortal realm." Hearing this, the Dragon Queen was confused. Then on what basis did he dare to place a blood curse on me? I am a celestial being, the Dragon Queen. The cat explained very seriously. Perhaps it's because when you descended to the mortal world, the Celestial Emperor's seal forced your realm down too low. Plus, at that moment, that brat had a sudden eruption of his will. His extremely strong will to survive, which pushed the limits of the blood curse far beyond its normal capacity. The magic circle on the altar gradually appeared as the cat's explanation continued. However, his blood curse is still limited by his own realm. With his cultivation at the lowest level, the spirit-guiding realm, the amount of blood he can draw from your total blood volume is only a very small portion. When this blood supply is depleted, he will die regardless. The cat stared at the altar below and chuckled softly. It's almost time. Your Majesty, please step into the center of the formation. The Dragon Queen calmly stepped into the completed formation. A connecting thread appeared, causing her body excruciating pain. That thread connected directly to Haktan's modern residence. It led straight to his apartment. Inside his room, Haktan was sleeping completely unguarded. The thread quickly entered his body. The Dragon Queen suddenly appeared before him, shouting angrily, "This blood curse has now fully materialized!" Then she channeled power into her hands, preparing to rip the thread apart. Just then, a knock came from outside. The Dragon Queen angrily paused and asked softly, "Who is it?" The shadow outside quickly spoke. "Your Majesty, this humble servant is a messenger. The Celestial General sends an invitation." The cat beside her found this extremely odd. He didn't use a transmission talisman but sent a messenger in person. She sighed softly. This person's arrival is surely not a good sign. A noble sparkling throne stood before the Dragon Queen. She slowly approached the empty throne. Amid the shimmering golden light, a voice suddenly rang out. "Do you want to sit in that seat?" From behind the curtain, a man who looked like a court official calmly walked out. He said, "It's been many years since the Celestial Emperor has come out of seclusion. Anyway, it wouldn't hurt to let you try sitting up there." The Dragon King replied, "You of the Celestial Capital. Everyone knows the one who wants that seat most is you. Why play these games with me? Cut the crap. What do you want?" He said, "You're still as impatient as ever. I came to inform you that your application for promotion to High Immortal has not been approved." The Dragon King gritted her teeth and asked, "Why I gave up my territory before and my subordinates and agreed to the terms for joining the Celestial Palace? Wasn't I supposed to be promoted to High Immortal after exactly 100 years? That Celestial Capital official sneered and said, "Oh my, times have changed. There are many minor immortals applying to become high immortals now. If we approve you based on a promise from 100 years ago, the other deities won't accept it. I advise you to accumulate more merit and improve your cultivation. Perhaps next time you apply." Before he could finish, she had already vanished. Seeing this, he said, "Oh, so impatient. I wasn't even done talking and she's already gone." Black Meow was sitting leisurely on the roof. Then it suddenly saw a bright shooting star. Black Meow said, "Back already." That bright shooting star was the Dragon King rushing over at maximum speed. She was gritting her teeth in anger. Black Meow screamed in terror, "Oh no, Lady Dragon King is furious again!" Black Meow jumped onto a boulder and looked down, saying, "Lady Dragon King, are you all right?" The Dragon King on a nearby rock fragment replied, "I'm fine. I'm perfectly healthy. Just a little anger. I was holding back a bit." Black Meow said, "A whole mountain was smashed to pieces. And you call this holding back?" She lay there thinking to herself, the grace period is over. It's time to turn up the heat on that mule. Elsewhere, a towering mountain stood against the night sky when suddenly a red light erupted from it. The sound of rustling leaves filled the air as dust and leaves flew everywhere, forming a powerful whirlwind. When the whirlwind dissipated, the figure of a man appeared. He had temporarily advanced to the condensing reality realm. Hyxin stood proudly, a red aura radiating from him. His physical strength had increased. Mana limit increased. Health point limit increased. Spiritual sense greatly enhanced. Comprehension ability greatly increased. Unlocked cultivation techniques. Magical artifacts and materials limited to the condensing reality realm. Complete supplementation of condensing reality realm prerequisites. Condensing reality pill, 1 out of 1. Superior grade foundation. Strengthening pills, 10 out of 10. Superior grade spirit grass. Body tempering liquid, 3 out of 3 vials. Spirit guiding realm, 10 out of 10 levels. After reading, Hyxin replied, "Oh, is that so? It's done. Then he swung his arms relaxed and said cheerfully, "That was much easier than I thought. Mission complete. Clear the illusory secret realm within the time limit while under the ice blood curse. After the mission ends, the system will deduct 30% of your cultivation and 30% of your merit as interest for advancing to the condensing reality realm. If the time limit is exceeded, it will be recalculated with compound interest." He replied in surprise, "Hey, don't jinx it." But it didn't say where the monster's den is. Suddenly, a magic circle appeared beneath his feet. He said in surprise, Wait, not even a moment to prepare. Even a countdown 19 minutes and 59 seconds. The ground quickly disappeared and he fell freely through the air. Hyaksen shouted in alarm, "Holy crap, this is intense!" Then he realized he was falling straight towards a patch of huge, sturdy spikes below. He executed a technique kicking his feet off a nearby wall. His agile body then clung to the wall just before he was impaled by the spikes. He glanced down below and exclaimed, "So dangerous. I almost got my ass handed to me back there. Even though my health bar is pretty thick, getting hurt will still be painful. Besides, I don't know when the ice blood curse will activate. It's better to avoid injury if I can." Suddenly, a giant spike shot towards him. Hyaksen quickly dodged to the side, avoiding being skewered. As he landed, a boulder came hurtling at him. Hyaksen powerfully swung his arm, slicing the boulder in two. Afterward, he said, "My speed, strength, and reflexes are all much stronger now. Although this saber isn't a top-grade weapon that can cut through iron like mud, after channeling some mana into it, I can still sever a rough stone arm thicker than my waist. These are all benefits of raising my base cultivation level." Suddenly, a few strange spots of light appeared behind him. Countless sharp spikes quickly shot up from beneath his feet. His agile and flexible body allowed him to escape. Suddenly, a giant stone hand appeared above his head, falling towards Hyaksen's head. Pinned from both sides, he wondered, an attack from the front and back. Seeing this, he clenched his fist and his hand began to glow with red lightning. Hyaksen yelled, "Dark Nether Fist Heart Thunder!" The mountain instantly shattered, sending rock fragments flying everywhere and shaking the heavens. Countdown 17 minutes and 36 seconds. He shot out from the rubble like a flash. Suddenly, countless stone men holding swords rose from the rubble. He looked at them and said, "I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to play with you guys." Suddenly, he was attacked and blood splattered. He realized and yelled, "The ice blood curse!" In front of him now was a massive, ferocious stone golem. The golem attacked him without hesitation. The small and giant stone men attacked him together. Hyaksen yelled, "Advance the cultivation technique, stone golem!" He then used a nearby rock as a foothold and slashed at the giant stone golem with the sword in his hand. Hyaksen fiercely struck the stone golem, shouting, "Die!" The stone golem shattered into tiny pieces. Another stone man was sent flying into the wall, creating a huge impact. Suddenly, a giant stone hand appeared. The hand opened, preparing to slap something. Meanwhile, Sister Tian slapped Zhao Xiao hard across the face. "Wake up!" she yelled. Zhao Xiao, dazed from the slap, coughed up blood. He was tied up in front of a strange place. Beneath his feet was a red circle with mysterious patterns drawn on it. Zhao Xiao yelled, "Director! I just drank a can of cola. Why did I wake up here?" "Cup," she said, "why is it that after I took the condensing reality pill, I still couldn't have a cultivation breakthrough like that dragon did? He no longer responds to my sacrificial pleas. In that case, I can only ask another god for a foundation pill." Zhao Xiao said, 1 million. Sacrificial offering. Are you trying to sacrifice me? I work like a dog for a 3,000 yuan salary, and now I have to sacrifice my life too. This wasn't in the contract I signed with the company. Director Tian held out the contract and said, "Our company has nothing to do with you. Take a good look. The party that signed the contract with you is a labor supply company." Zhao Xiao's eyes widened as she looked at the contract. "What? How can this be? How can—" Director Tian pressed a knife to her throat and said menacingly, "All right, enough nonsense. It's time to go. Try to be smarter in your next life." She trembled and sobbed, "Don't kill me. I don't want to die. Don't kill me." Suddenly there was a loud explosion, sending rock fragments flying. As the smoke cleared, Hyaksen appeared. He flipped his middle finger at Director Tian and grinned. "Well, if it isn't the director who loves his employees like his own children." Director Tian stumbled back in panic. "It's you. How did you get here? Did you take care of all the traps outside?" Hyaksen replied, "Aren't you surprised I'm still alive, right? I'm sure someone told you I was hard to kill. For example, your dead little brother." Hearing this, the man said in terror, "You killed my brother. Then you must be after his foundation pill." With that, he charged forward, sword raised to strike, shouting, "Hand it over!" Haishin blocked the sword and said, "Look at you. You didn't even ask how your own brother died. Are all the disciples of your sect this cold-hearted?" He sneered and said, "Before I only helped him kill you because his honor was tied to mine, but now that he's dead, as his older brother I should inherit his assets." He lunged at Haishin. Haishin quickly charged as well, using his hand to perform a technique that the man couldn't block. Then Haishin shattered one of his arms. Zhao Xiao, though tied up, watched the fight without blinking. Director Tian, having lost an arm, slid across the ground. Blood gushed from the wound, forming a large pool. Suddenly, a stream of purple-black light shot out from the wound. Haishin shouted in alarm, "Lada Ki, countdown timer 9 minutes and 20 seconds. He then slashed through Zhao Xiao's chains. She said, "It's you. I haven't heard anything since you quit. I never expected you to be this strong." He replied, "No time to explain. I'll have my puppet get you out of here first." Then a giant stone hand grabbed her as a strange black energy poured out torrentially. A pair of eyes suddenly appeared. Next, a blazing red sword materialized from the black miasma. Long Yin, along with the sword, stepped out from that black energy. Seeing this, Haishin used his spiritual sense to observe her. He saw Long Yin emitting a strange light. Suddenly, his eyes felt like they were attacked, and blood streamed from them. He thought I was just trying to check her cultivation level with my spiritual sense, but I got hit by a counterattack. That strange energy from Zhao Xiao's sacrifice was absorbed by the stone. Haishin said Director Tian unintentionally used himself as a sacrifice to summon this entity. Long Yin didn't care and charged directly with her sword. Haishin blocked her strike. The force was so great that the ground beneath his feet shattered. Long Yin's sword slashed and wounded his shoulder. Then she aimed a kick at his face. Luckily, he blocked it with his arm, but was still sent flying back into the stone wall, causing a huge explosion. Haishin struggled to move after the impact. Long Yin took her stance, preparing to attack again. Watching her, Haishin thought. When her powerful slash came at me, I countered by using a stone puppet for support. So fast and decisive. Long Yin lunged forward, slashing at his neck. The small scapegoat puppets shattered one after another. Long Yin murmured, destroyed all the substitute puppets in an instant. How? Oh. But her gaze remained stern as she looked down. About to die, are you? Haishin's expression soured. How could no one have seen it? The sword had struck home. His body lay face down on the ground in a pool of fresh blood. A golden circle appeared between two of Long Yin's fingers. Suddenly, she raised her sword, preparing to swing it down at Haishin. The target Long Yin was aiming for was his neck. Long Yin's blade swung down, clashing with Haishin's dagger. The area lit up with a powerful purple-pink glow. Haishin, blocking the blow over his back, thought, "You still dare to strike me." His two fingers began to form a sign. In front of him, a giant stone palm suddenly erupted from the ground behind Long Yin. Her feet moved nimbly as she dodged. Escaping her previous position, she easily struck down the stone hand and landed softly. Long Yin's eyes quickly glanced to the other side. Haishin charged his dagger, clashing with her sword. A notification panel appeared. Haishin's blood price activated. Damage plus 99%. He laughed out loud. "Now we can have a proper sword fight." This move hit me instantly. It lands the blow before the skill's execution is even complete, so I couldn't defend against it at all. A fierce battle raged amidst the swirling smoke between Haishin and Long Yin. His arm quickly threw out a blazing red orb. Long Yin deftly used her sword to block the orb. Suddenly, the red orb exploded with immense power. Long Yin lost her footing, clutching her sword as she stumbled back. Her eyes narrowed. "It's coming again!" Haishin shouted. "I was just waiting to use this move again." A pink stream of energy enveloped his palm. The enemy's technique had been prepared. Both Haishin and Long Yin were now summoning their power. Law of heavenly extinction. A translucent pink sword was swung out forcefully. Beside it, the golden sword was also incredibly powerful. The two swords began to clash in utter chaos. Smoke began to rise as the ground cracked beneath them. Long Yin suddenly froze her sword still in hand. Blood unexpectedly gushed from her chest. Haishin's expression remained stern as he looked at Long Yin. She gritted her teeth. "Why? I had already prepared for your attack." "Of course they are, but you're completely unharmed," Haktan replied calmly. "Look at you getting so worked up, you're talking like a normal person now. I thought you were mute." "You can of course prepare your attack against me, but I can also prepare my own move and defend against you. Initially, I planned to prepare my defense ahead of time. Your attack, but I couldn't. It seems that's a technique only someone with a very high cultivation level can use. So I figured since you couldn't take me down in our last fight and you used a move to slash at my neck this time, you'd probably want to chop my head off. That's why I prepared to defend my neck. A wet mark appeared on Long An's chest. I even managed to get a sneak attack in too. She suddenly stood up, glaring angrily. Her eyes... Long An suddenly froze as a light appeared before her. A massive magic circle was right above her head. Haktan looked up. This is the punishment you must bear. For using the prepared heavenly law technique. Ban Nuit and he simultaneously summoned a stream of light around their fingers. Long An placed her fingers on her temples. Why can't I close it? Stone hands emerged from the ground, grabbing onto Long An's arms. She struggled to break free. You think this is enough to stop me from completing the technique? Haktan replied with focus. I don't need to stop you from completing it. I just need to waste your time. She easily shattered the stone hands, shouting, Waste what? The magic circle had now moved directly above Long An's head. Golden rings stacked in layers, exploding everything. The ground began to shake from that powerful breakthrough. A notification panel appeared. Foundation Establishment Realm complete. Advance has been deducted. Cultivation merit obtained and submitted as required. Cultivation has increased to Foundation Establishment Realm Level 3. Unlockable advanced resources in the system are now available. In front of Haktan was billowing smoke with dirt and rocks flying everywhere. Long An's hand started trying to grab a piece of rock. Haktan stood before her and said, Still breathing. She closed her eyes. I lost. Kill me, cut me down, do as you please. He pulled out a knife. You're not like the others. They all beg for their lives before they die, but you're so calm. Unexpectedly, Haktan swung the knife down forcefully without hesitation. Long An closed her eyes, then opened them again. She was surprised. Your injuries are fully healed, Haktan continued. From now on, we'll all be people bound by the same blood. We will ascend together. A system panel announced, Blood curse has been placed on Long An. From now on, all damage Long An receives in battle will be borne by the Dragon King. At that moment, a steaming bathtub was shown. In the small bathroom, a black cat was sleeping soundly beside the tub. The water's surface showed signs of boiling furiously with bubbles floating up. The Dragon King emerged from the tub. The black cat jumped up, startled. What happened? The Dragon King said softly. I feel like I've got another bloodsucker latched onto me. A system notification. Advanced technique has been upgraded. You can now take an advance on magic artifacts and elixirs. However, the level of advanced resources cannot exceed your current major realm. Early in the morning, in a fairly quiet building, Long An was in the form of a normal human. Haktan's expression was a little surprised when he saw her. Banyan said excitedly, What a beautiful girl. Even the heart of someone as calm as a placid lake has been moved. Who is this Maoqiu cut-in bullshit? Are you trying to hit on our sister-in-law? His words startled Banan a little. He trembled. My apologies, big brother. Please understand in my heart there's only Chibana. How could there be room for any other woman? Haktan asked, puzzled. Excuse me, do we know each other? Long An replied. We just had a huge fight a few days ago and you've already forgotten. Aren't we like grasshoppers sharing the same health bar? He pointed a finger. Ah, it's you. You changed your appearance so much I almost didn't recognize you. But how did you manage to enroll and get into our class? She replied nonchalantly. New tricks are always effective. 2 days ago in old Dao's office. I've been so lucky lately. I just recruited another transfer student. A drawer was pulled out of a cabinet, revealing some gold. At that moment, old Dao covered his mouth and cleared his throat. Ahem. Hello, students. The pop quizzes are basically over, and the first mock exam will begin today for most of the students here. This will be the first time you get to experience real combat. You have all studied diligently for 15 years. Now is the time to show the true results of your cultivation. Everyone in the examination hall gather around Year 3 Class 1 assemble. Class 2 begin roll call. Class 3 all assemble. Class 4. Long An spoke up. An exam? How interesting. Maoqiu continued. Brother, the entire 3rd year is here this time. Looks like I'm going to embarrass you in front of the whole year. Haktan put a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. It's fine. Maoqiu laughed. Really, big brother, you really are something. He continued, I don't need my reputation. Feel free to throw it away. He looked stunned. Such vision. Old Dao began to speak loudly over the speaker. I will now read the rules of the examination. Each class has its own testing area with a barrier around it to ensure that candidates taking the same exam do not interfere with each other. Each student must fight the same corresponding monster. Those who defeat it within 5 minutes will receive the maximum score. If the challenge time ends without defeating it, the score will be calculated based on the actual damage dealt. If any unexpected situations occur during the exam, Teacher Joe in the middle of the hall will intervene. The exam is about to begin. When students hear their name called, they will step onto the floor to prepare. 3 million Jia Kang Grade 1 Block 3. Quach Pham Luong Grade 1 Block 3. Duong Long Grade 2. Block 3. Ryuzaki Hanako Grade 4. Block 3. Prepare to enter the arena. Haktan looked down, wondering why is there someone from Dongying here. Mao Kyo answered, "This is a mission from the Department of Cultivation Education. As part of the peace treaty between the top-tier sects, almost every cultivation high school accepts a few exchange students from Dongying." He was surprised. "Oh, I thought only normal high schools had exchange students. I never expected cultivation high schools to have this kind of thing, too." Suddenly, Hanako froze, standing perfectly still. Her sharp eyes glanced back, looking up. Haktan looked down and thought to himself, her intuition is pretty sharp. Long-On said angrily, "How bold of you to glare at my master. Only I, your big sister, am allowed to glare at my little bro." Mao Kyo continued, "Hey, the relationship between you two?" Lao Dao began to speak. The exam begins. Now commencing the summoning of the exam question, in the center a dark purple-black abyss appeared. An orange pupil was hidden within the deep pit. A humanoid monster wearing a mushroom hat appeared. The gym teacher next to Lao Dao was shocked. This aura. Lao Dao, isn't this the cloud-capped demon lord that was suppressed by the great sects long ago? Using something of this level for an exam is just too... He cut him off. "Look at you, always so impatient. No wonder you're still just a gym teacher. If its true form were here, then even if it was suppressed, everyone present here would die." But the questions in this test were cultivated from the spores on the demon lord's body. Although they are also at the condensing reality stage, their strength is still lower than the proctors. Besides, there are suppression stones all around this place, so you can relax. Liu Van's arms were crossed, launching an attack. The demon lord quickly jumped away as he attacked. Liu Van sat sobbing. Before the test ended, "I failed to deal any damage to the exam question. 0 points." Next was another student trying to defeat the demon lord, but he was easily taken down by the creature. With just one punch, the student was sent flying. The actual damage met the standard, however. The contestant left the examination floor without permission. Disqualified. Truong Soai Van, 61 points. Ngo Liu Van failed. Tian Jianglum, 68 points. Mao Qiu shouted, "What is this? Is this year's mock exam really this difficult? So far, no one has scored over 70 points, and very few have even passed. What kind of twisted teacher came up with this question? I'm going to go give him a gift later. This is great. If everyone loses face together, then it's not like I'm losing face anymore." Suddenly, his gaze stopped looking down. The gym teacher is getting worked up. That's going too far. Lao Dao making the first mock exam this difficult will destroy the student's confidence. He cleared his throat. If they can't even handle a mock test as difficult as this, then they can't do anything. This is the worst class I've ever taught. Lao Dao suddenly stopped talking and looked down. Hanako is running at an extremely fast speed with the demon lord chasing after her. He was surprised. This student's speed is incredible, but she's running out of the barrier. Is she trying to forfeit the match? Hanako's foot pushed off powerfully, launching herself forward. Before her was a massive, tall, yellow barrier. Hanako's body flew gracefully over it. The demon lord was also raising its powerful fist. Her fingers lifted the hilt of her sword to counter the attack. The demon lord was easily defeated with just one of Hanako's techniques. The gym teacher was shocked. A direct knockout. The arena was immediately in an uproar. Ryuzaki Hanako. Perfect score. Awesome. The previous tests were such a struggle, but this time she got a perfect score right away. Where did a monster like this come from? An exchange student from Dongying is at the top of the 4th grade class. A man named Kaku stood above, watching the matches intently. He chuckled. "That's just the beginning. I've even prepared a bonus question for you all. You'd better do a good job." The speaker above began to announce. "Next up, Lai Quan Hao, grade 12, class 1. Mao Qiu spoke up. "Oh my god. This Lai Quan Hao guy is the top student of class 1. He can definitely get a perfect score too." Bro, what are you gesturing at? Hacktan thought to himself. He can't see this system wheel of mine, can he? It's nothing. I was just swatting a mosquito. I don't care who the top student is. I only care about what good magical artifact I can draw. The female students above were extremely excited. It's Young Master Lai go. Young Master Lai is so cool. Quan Hao was very confident. Young Master Lai is #1 forever. Isn't this just a test for comparison? I will prove that even among the best of the best, there are differences. Black smoke began to appear on the floor. A mushroom-headed demon lord had materialized right before his eyes. Lao Dao looked down in shock. Huh. Who set this as the question? Quan Hao said confidently. This looks interesting. You think I can't beat you just because you changed your form? As he finished speaking, he gritted his teeth and swung his fist. Seal-engraved Dharma, fist. A powerful blow from Quan Hao struck the demon lord's stomach. The ground in the center shook amidst a hazy cloud of smoke. Mao Q was horrified. Oh my god, is this the kind of power a 12th grade student can produce? Old Tao explained that carving magical symbols onto the arm could increase the destructive power of a punch. This kid has a great chance of getting direct admission into Qingbei University. But why isn't it a student from our class? On the ground, a long streak of water appeared flowing out toward the city gate. Junhao shouted, "This is the punch that guarantees it. I've proven that there are levels even among the best of the best." Suddenly, his expression darkened as he stared ahead in shock. Both Old Tao and the PE teacher were also completely stunned. A giant demon monarch was standing before Junhao. This thing, how is it still standing? That's strange. Could it be my hip twist and shoulder thrust were off so I didn't generate enough power? In that case, I'll just throw another one. The PE teacher suddenly screamed, "Hurry! Get away from there!" Junhao gritted his teeth and threw his powerful punch. But the demon monarch was a step faster, striking him in the stomach. Junhao's body was sent flying. A massive explosion erupted in midair. With smoke clouding the area, the homeroom teacher struggled to catch Junhao. Amidst the haze, he suddenly began coughing up blood violently. The PE teacher gritted his teeth. I already tried to absorb as much of the impact as I could, but I still suffered internal injuries. This exam question is way too difficult. Hello, is this the Board of Education? A question that's way beyond the curriculum has appeared in the exam hall. Send a teacher to support us quickly. The person on the other end replied, "Could you please specify the current difficulty level of the question? Send your highest level instructor over here now." From a distance, the demon monarch charged toward the two of them at high speed. Suddenly, its ankle was ensnared by a golden cord. The proctor shouted, "You beast! Do you take your teachers?" "The proctor's for granted. Am I invisible to you?" Suddenly, a purple eye appeared on its mushroom-like cap. At the same time, something erupted from the skin on the demon monarch's back as the sharp spines there fell away one by one. The cord that the proctor had bound it with was straining to its limit. Something was crawling beneath the ground, and a powerful light erupted at his feet. This is bad. In just a few seconds, everything exploded, painting the sky red. A massive fireball formed above the demon monarch's head. The dark spots on its cap began firing out like projectiles. Old Tao witnessed the explosive scene unfold. The demon monarch quickly emerged from the smoke. High above the arena, several fireballs appeared and began attacking the creature. Hanako stood motionless high above, observing everything. She was now in a sword-drawing stance, preparing for battle. Kaku stopped her. "What do you think you're doing?" Hanako answered, going down to help everyone. He scoffed. "Are you an idiot? This bonus question was meant to pave the way for you. All we had to do was let this advanced question accidentally eliminate the top-ranking students. That way, the guaranteed admission spot for Qingbei Cultivation University would be all yours." Hanako retorted, "This Hanako doesn't need to resort to such despicable tricks to secure a spot. I will go down there and tear that filthy exam paper to shreds." Suddenly, her body seized up, her face contorting. A dark aura flared around her. Hanako. Soul-binding curse. Good thing I still have this dog leash in my hand. Otherwise, the plan father so meticulously prepared would all go to waste. She didn't inherit any of the cruel, cold-blooded traits of the Long Qi family. Deep down, she still has that fatal flaw in her bloodline. She's kind and righteous. Father, oh father, why did you waste so many resources on her? Just then, the adjacent building also exploded. Old Tao moved nimbly, dodging the immediate danger. He summoned his power. This monster! It has to be at least at the 5th level of the true condensation realm. Who in the world wrote this exam? Old Tao's entire body was enveloped in a protective diamond shield. Outside, the demon monarch continued to move with incredible agility. Old Tao was shocked. It's moving too fast. My eyes can't even follow it. The only thing I can do is put up an omnidirectional shield. Suddenly, the demon monarch closed the distance and unleashed a strike. Everything exploded with immense power. The demon monarch's hand clamped down on Old Tao's throat. It's over. The demon monarch poured all of its strength into its grip. Old Tao's eyes rolled back in agony, unable to fight back. In that instant, a single pink line flashed through the air. Haixin effortlessly sliced off the demon monarch's arm with a knife. 5 minutes earlier, Haixin had been observing from above. Mu Jiao was terrified. Monster! 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 Monster, 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 Haixin thought to himself. He's been paralyzed by the demonic aura. That's right. If you haven't reached the true condensation realm, it's easy to be frightened by this beast's aura. As for this demon's cultivation level, Longyin interrupted. 7th level of the true condensation realm. He continued, your perception is sharp. She suddenly got excited. No, it's my body. It's reacting because it can feel a powerful opponent. It's telling me exactly what level this opponent is on. Haixin's finger lightly touched an invisible barrier in the air. He continued, they've set up a barrier around the area. It won't be easy for the others to escape. This is clearly a plot to wipe out all the test takers. Right now, I'm at the 3rd level of the true condensation realm, but factoring in my super long health bar, my actual strength can probably match a 7th level, if I just had a badass weapon. He searched through the weapons he had just unlocked. Only this one is top tier, but I can only borrow it for now. Still, its attributes are really something. A black sword with intricate patterns on the blade appeared. Weapon unlocked on loan, the Yungshu Yin. Haixin focused, summoning a red vital aura around himself. He continued, I'm going down in a minute. You stay up here and watch for any surprises. I have a feeling this bonus question has another trick up its sleeve. Longyin nodded. Got it. But those teachers, can't they handle this one exam question? It seems you have a reflexive reaction to the strong, he thought, but you don't feel much from those who aren't that powerful. Those other teachers are all at the 1st level of the condensing reality realm. Only the head teacher, Old Man Tao, is at the 5th level. If he had prepared and set up a formation beforehand, he might have been able to barely hold his own. But in a sudden encounter like this, he's at a great disadvantage. The sword exudes a gloomy, dark aura, and this happens to be my specialty. System notification. Refinement complete. Cloud Void Guide has acquired the blood price attribute. Old Tao trembled in agony as the Demon Lord continued to choke him. Haixin appeared just in time, severing the Demon Lord's arm. Old Tao's eyes widened in shock. The transfer student... Haixin continued speaking. There's a barrier outside the city wall blocking the student's escape route. I'll trouble you teachers to figure out a way to break it. As for this little problem, just leave it to me. The old man replied, What kind of person do you take me for? As a teacher at a dangerous time like this, I must stand firm. As he finished his sentence, Old Man Tao was already winding up his leg. He stood far in the distance and yelled, Protect the students behind me! The Demon Lord's body was now seething, and the severed arm was showing signs of reconnecting. Haixin said, Such fast regeneration. In just a flash, it was as good as new. This is a characteristic of mushroom-type fiends. They possess nearly the fastest recovery speed. The Demon Lord gnashed its teeth and started to charge at him. Haixin's body retreated. Its fists have hardened. The Demon Lord's fists were incredibly powerful, attacking him swiftly. He used his blade to block the blow, so it's compressing demonic energy on the surface of its fists to increase their hardness. The Demon Lord's entire arm was covered in a layer of energy. Haixin was sent flying by the Demon Lord's blow, but his agile body was unaffected by the force. Suddenly, in a flash, the Demon Lord closed the distance. It got faster! The Demon Lord stood firm, drawing power into its muscular arm, and without hesitation slammed its fist into the city wall. Everything at the base of the wall was in utter chaos. The PE teacher said fearfully, Old Man Tao, that transfer student, is he dead? He replied nonchalantly, If you're so worried, why don't you go down there and save him? You brat, you've only ever known how to run and hide. The family of the top student from Class 1 must have asked you for a favor, right? Otherwise, you would never have gone down to save him. The PE teacher's face showed a hint of embarrassment. Old Man Tao continued. That kid is truly brave, but there's nothing we can do. No one here can break this thing. Just forget it. We'll be lucky if we can break this barrier before that fiend gets up here. The Demon Lord was now relentlessly punching the city wall. The PE teacher looked down. How tragic. He's probably been beaten to a pulp by now. The Demon Lord at this moment was extremely thrilled with its own fists. At the same time, Hiksen's palm blocked the Demon Lord's punch. Both the PE teacher and the Demon Lord were stunned. System notification, Blood King's blood price activated. Damage plus 99%. Hiksen's arm bulged with muscle. My turn. The Demon Lord was seemingly hit hard by the attack. With just one powerful blow, he sent the Demon Lord flying far away. Amidst the hazy smoke, the Demon Lord's figure could be seen still resisting. Suddenly, a distant light appeared in the sky. Hiksen's sword grew enormous and pierced through the smoke. The Demon Lord's two hands quickly clamped down on the blade. Hiksen stood his ground, summoning his power. Dark Nether Sword, Convex Strike. A black sphere appeared at the tip of the sword right before the Demon Lord's eyes. In an instant, a massive explosion lit up the entire sky. A huge crack formed in the center of where the Demon Lord stood. Its body began to dissolve into foam. The PE teacher on the wall stared wide-eyed. He killed it! Suddenly, Hiksen froze, staring intently. Before his eyes, the Demon Lord appeared in the sky, floating in midair. A dark life force enveloped its entire body. The mushroom cap began to lift off its head. It rose into the air as spikes slowly emerged from the cap's surface. Hundreds of bullet-shaped projectiles rained down in a relentless assault. Hiksen stood firm, looking up. The city was in a state of utter panic. Everyone was running for their lives. Run! There's a barrier outside. Quick run in another direction! Down below, Hiksen was slowly casting a spell. Then he slammed his hand on the ground, summoning the Stonehead Puppet Shield formation. Hijia ran for his life in terror. It's completely sealed. There's no escape. Then a rocket flew towards him and exploded. A blinding light filled the space. Finally, a terrifying explosion occurred that shook the three realms. Gradually, the smoke cleared, revealing the ruins. Hijia instinctively used his hands to shield his body. He glanced fearfully at the deep craters that had been created. Hijia gasped. I'm still alive. Who set up this large-scale defensive formation? A formation this large must consume a massive amount of spiritual energy. The caster's cultivation must be from one of the top academies. The land severely destroyed remained. Long Yin's voice commented, Master, you're still not ruthless enough, are you, to think you'd actually go and save your fellow students? Those with poor achievements don't need to be saved. Scum like those students. Every person you save now will become a sharp arrow aimed at you when you later think about the Cultivation University. Below, Hiksen mused, my spiritual energy is almost completely depleted. It seems the one in the sky must be in the same state. At that very moment, a monster appeared on the city wall. It was massive, eyeless, and even its mouth was sewn shut. And then the monster flew up, moving in a flash. It appeared right behind him unexpectedly. Hiksen quickly kicked his sword up from behind him and flipped high in the air. He dodged the stone golem's attack and then landed gracefully, bracing himself with one hand. But it wasn't over. It was raising its fist from behind him. It unleashed a terrifying technique radiating waves of spiritual energy. The sword in his hand emanated a murderous aura along with dark spirits. Hiksen swung back, building momentum to slash the stone golem. Its face was struck, shattering into pieces that faded into the sky. And then the stone golem leaped back, creating distance between them. Its body bizarrely started emitting bubbles. The stone golem squeezed its own head with its hand. Hiksen frowned, thinking, after channeling the lightning technique into the blade, cutting its head off became easier, but the head can regenerate. To prove its weakness wasn't in its head, but hidden in its body, it suddenly used its hand to pull a thread from its mouth, gradually revealing a pair of terrifying purple eyes. Filled with savagery, it then quickly vanished from the ground. He frowned, listening. It had disappeared so fast. Hacktun sensed it and immediately swung his sword to strike. As his blade slashed out the stone, person ducked to dodge it. It quickly turned to counterattack, punching Hacktun in the stomach. He immediately spat out a large mouthful of blood. The blow was so powerful it sent Hacktun flying, and he hurriedly used his legs to brace himself against the ground. Skidding to a long stop, strange ghostly faces suddenly appeared all around him. Finally, Hacktun was surrounded with no way out. Frustrated, he swung his sword wildly through the air. Opposite him, the stone person fists clenched, punched relentlessly. Hacktun didn't bother to dodge, and his body began to sustain injuries. He panicked. In the end, he was still at a disadvantage. And here I thought this transfer student could actually turn the tables, Lao Dao said nonchalantly. I told you it was impossible from the start. With such a massive power gap, how could he possibly win? But for this transfer student, under these circumstances, To be able to fight that monster for this long is already incredibly impressive. His pure strength alone is enough to place him in the top 10. It's just a pity. At that moment, Long An stood motionless on the city wall, observing. She thought to herself, "Hurry up and use that move I taught you to defeat him." "What are you waiting for, master?" But Haktan was pushed back, his body already exhausted. He worried, "He's moving too fast, it's really hard to catch him. Especially his acceleration right before each attack. Even if I risk my life and go all out on defense, I can only block a small part of it." The system displayed Haktan 50% Bloodlust activated. Damage plus 150%. Haktan thought, but the opportunity is almost here. He immediately channeled spiritual energy into his sword, causing it to lengthen. He flew up and moved with surprising speed. Unexpectedly, the weapons in the enemy's hands managed to block all of his moves. He was surprised. He's just holding a stance but not moving. Has he given up resisting? He slashed through its body with Heavenly Law of Annihilation. The strike was so powerful it even passed through the PE teacher's position. Suddenly, the space erupted in sparkling crystals. Old Dao was unwilling to accept it. "I spent half a day trying to break this barrier, and it was destroyed with a single wave of his hand. This teacher, he doesn't have a single bit of tact. Or has he already given up?" Haktan reached out and took the stone golem's sigil. Once he had won, the system chimed, "Acquired toadstool dissipating pill. Please complete the casting process for Heavenly Law of Annihilation." He immediately did so, and it reported, "Casting of Heavenly Law of Annihilation complete." The PE teacher was astonished. I couldn't even see the final blow. Old Dao, with that kind of power. Is he really only in the top 10 of his grade? Why does it feel like he could go up against that person? He turned his head and called to the person behind Old Dao. The system chimed again. "While strolling with Long An, you have reached the 9th layer of the condensing reality realm." She was looking at the content on Billy Hotshot. Who is Haktan? A talented transfer student from middle school number 6. Long An reminded him, "Master, you're on the Hotshot list. Everyone is saying you're the transfer student with the greatest potential to cause an upset. There are also confirmed reports that you'll be accepted into a cultivation university. More importantly, what are you doing?" he replied coolly. "Nothing, just paying my health insurance." Haktan tapped the screen. "Do you wish to transfer 30% of the cultivation and merit gained from this session to the Dragon King?" "Yes." He analyzed, "Right now, I can't regenerate health in combat anymore. And only by receiving health insurance can my health increase." Watching the card fly up, Haktan was overjoyed. "It worked!" Dragon King. Just as the card touched the sky, dark clouds gathered, causing him to furrow his brows. Streaks of darkness were spreading, taking over the sky. It was massive, covering the entire surrounding space. Long An was bewildered. "Master, what is this?" Haktan explained. "It's the Forbidden Zone Dark Abyss. Once you enter, those inside and outside can no longer see each other. This formation is usually set up when someone wants to kill a witness to silence them." Suddenly, a huge number of arrows shot down from the sky. At the same time, he hastily raised a stone shield to defend himself, and then the sigil on the arrowhead glowed strangely. Instantly, a massive explosion occurred, engulfing the forest, and then she quickly leaped out of danger. Long An jumped high into the air, glancing at that dark pool. Droplets of dark water gradually evaporated and rose up. He also quickly landed on the ground, far away. Haktan spoke, "To directly inscribe an explosive formation onto an ultimate scroll, and even using a preemptive spell of eternal suffering to pull my disciple in. Very impressive." Suddenly, a woman dashed past him. Thien Hui unexpectedly turned back and attacked Haktan by surprise. The spear blade swung powerfully, making a full circle in the sky, and then it fell down into the hilt of the sword. Haktan's eyes widened as he observed, then concluded, "The blade's edge." The sword in his hand was instantly knocked far away. She launched herself high into the air with a jump. Then Thien Hui landed gently on the ground, creating distance between them. He spoke first. "This whole series of moves was just to steal my weapon," she replied. "My father said, 'You are my competitor on the path of learning,' so he told me to kill you. But I don't like doing that. So, I'll take your weapon and say you're dead. But you have to leave the country and give up on taking the university entrance exam. Otherwise, as long as you go to any school and rank first, the people of the Duan Tong sect will not let you go." At that moment, the sigil on the sword radiated the spiritual energy of 6 systems. A system notification startled Haktan. The next quest for the weapon Van Hudan has been activated. And then a dark barrier circle appeared beneath his feet. Thien Hui couldn't help but ask in surprise, "What is this?" Then her body was forcefully pulled high into the air. Tianhui quickly jumped onto a branch to observe the situation. Suddenly, her eyes widened at the sight before her. The scene was strange, carrying a sense of unfamiliarity. Tianhui gathered her strength and jumped onto a traditional-style roof. She was confused. "Where is this place? How did I suddenly end up here?" Haktun walked over and explained, "This is the Vang Tik Kinhu, a secret realm where people can only see memories of the past but cannot interfere. My sword must be related to her." So when she held it, it directly triggered the next quest. And the next quest will forcibly pull us into this Vang Tik Kinhu. Tianhui looked at her empty hands. The sword she had stolen was also gone. He concluded, perhaps the true form of this temporal sword is still lying somewhere in this secret realm. If we don't find the original body, the sword won't return to my hand. Suddenly, the sound of singing echoed. She was stunned. This song, why does it sound a little familiar? On the ground below was a figure with a school bag running in a hurry. Tianhui used all her energy and ran with all her might. She pushed open the door and shouted, "Dad, I'm home!" But the scene before her instantly made Tianhui freeze. Before her eyes were the countless corpses of her relatives scattered everywhere. Tianhui looked at the bodies on the ground, calling out, "Big sis, big bro." And then, the most important woman in her life was being stabbed. Tianhui's weak voice cried out, "Mom!" Just then, a voice came from behind her. "So you're back!" She was stunned, asking, "Senior brother, why are you wearing the clothes of the Don Tong?" Tianhui shrieked, "What do you think you're doing?" The scene shifted to an idyllic time when Tianhui was in the 5th grade. Tianhui was training relentlessly, flying from one tree branch to another. She flicked her wrist, sending out a series of daggers, and all of them flew straight into the bullseye on the target. 3 blades were embedded in the exact same spot. Tianhui slowly jumped down, glancing at the result. From up high, Tien Duyet praised her. "Not bad. Your technique is even better than mine was at your age." She looked up and called out, "Big sis." Her sister remarked, "But you missed one. There's another target behind that great tree, you know." Upon hearing that, Tianhui immediately turned and threw another dagger. Tien Duyet began to explain the technique of using a second knife to change the first one's direction. But before she could finish, the dagger had already pierced through the massive ancient tree. She didn't stop continuing to launch daggers. The point of impact between the weapons and the tree trunk flashed with large sparks. The bullseye immediately showed traces of water and lightning. A moment later, it returned to its normal state, bearing the marks. She wondered aloud, "You can do that, just force it through from behind." Tianhui reminded her, "Sis, you just need to say whether it hit or not," Tien Duyet said helplessly. All right, I'll count it as a pass." She looked up at the sky and urged, "It's getting late, let's go home." A short while later, as they ran home, she shouted, "Dad, I'm home!" Tien Du stroked Tianhui's head. "Dad's precious daughter, how was practice today?" She replied, "Everything was up to standard, I even hit the target behind the great ancient tree." Suddenly, the loud sound of wood being chopped rang out. Tianhui said admiringly, "Senior brother's swordsmanship seems to have improved again." At the mention of Long Qi, Tien Duyet grew curious. "Father, are you really planning to pass the family's secret iron wall blade technique to him?" He responded, "I'm still considering it for this boy. Though he is not of our blood, he has been a disciple for 3 years now." "Master, I've observed him these past few years. The boy is very respectful and pure of heart. He's a good kid." At all times, Long Qi would say respectfully, "Master, please have some tea." "Master, I'm not tired. I can endure any hardship." "Master, it's all my fault. Please don't punish my fellow disciples." Tien Du couldn't help but praise my good disciple. Back in the present, a bloody knife was stabbed through the wood. His body had been betrayed by his own disciple. Tien Du asked weakly, "Why?" He answered, "Why? Because I was never one of you to begin with. I was born a member of the Doan Tong. I changed my name and hid here for 6 years, all to learn your family's secret iron wall blade technique. Now that I've learned it, of course, I have to annihilate your entire clan." Tien Du roared, "Even if you manage to ambush me, there are others in this courtyard. Don't even think you'll get out of here in one piece." Just then, a bloody hand gripped the doorframe tightly. Tien Duyet, covered in wounds, called out, "Father!" And then her hand slid down the wall, leaving a trail of blood. His body trembled in agony as he watched his daughter collapse. "Tien Duyet, you beast. You dared to poison my family," Long Kai stated calmly. "Our Doan Tong has always followed one principle: steal one technique, annihilate one sect. It's just a pity that your little elementary school daughter hasn't returned from school yet. I happen to greatly value her talent." At that very moment, a voice called out, "Dad, I'm home." He turned his head with a vicious look. Perfect timing. Tiandu grabbed Long Kai's clothes, begging, "Please, spare my younger daughter." He replied, "Don't you worry, Hua Tianhui's spiritual root is excellent. I plan to wipe her memories clean and adopt her as my own daughter. I won't keep you waiting long. Once she's in college, I'll seize her spiritual root and let you and your daughter be reunited." Finally, he fell to the ground, taking his last breath with his eyes wide open. Long Kai turned around and said, "I've been waiting for you, my little junior sister. I got so bored waiting I had to kill your whole family to pass the time." At that moment, the bag in Tianhui's hand fell to the ground unconsciously. She drew her blade and roared, "I'm going to kill you!" Tianhui immediately unleashed a flurry of blades at him, but in contrast, Long Kai didn't even move. Without a shred of fear, he calmly remarked, "The all-directional blade-throwing technique specializing in attacking blind spots. In this entire sect, you are the best at this move. But against me, who has mastered the iron wall blade technique, it's completely useless." And then a dagger accidentally grazed his arm. Just as another dagger was about to hit Long Kai's eye, he let out a faint smirk. Then he grabbed her by the throat and lifted her up. All of this is just a useless struggle. Finally, he furiously slammed Tianhui's head into the ground. She immediately fell unconscious, and he stood over her looking down. Long Kai said, "Mind-bewitching charm. From this day forward, you are my daughter, Long Ki Huatu. I will bring you into the Doantong and train you well." Waiting for that day to come, Tianhui, having lost all consciousness, knelt and called out to him, "Lord Father." Afterwards, Long Kai lit a torch and threw it. Finally, the two of them left the place that was now engulfed in a sea of flames. The entire scene of the sect burning to the ground was reflected in Tianhui's eyes. She stood rooted to the spot, watching her clan being massacred. Upon learning the truth, Tianhui roared with hatred, "Long Kai!" Haktan flew towards her, reminding her, "You can't interfere here." Meanwhile, Tianhui was frantically swinging her sword, but the slash passed right through Long Kai. He looked around in surprise. The younger Tianhui asked, "What is it, Lord Father?" Long Ki replied, "It's nothing. I just thought someone was approaching. Turns out it was just the wind. Let's go, after we get home." "The first thing we must do is arrange for someone to teach you our Dongyang language," she agreed. "Yes, Lord Father." In the present, Tianhui fell to her knees in agony, crying, "For so many years, I've been calling my enemy, Father." The system announced, "The background has changed. The scene has shifted from an illusory memory to a tangible interactive reality. Please find the key item, the Von Hudon." He sighed, announcing that the scene had changed again. "This is the actual current state of your home. Try to find something to take back as a memento." Tianhai requested to use her spiritual sense to probe below, as it seemed there was something there. But it was buried quite deep. Hai Xin used a spell, "Let me help you dig it up." Suddenly, a giant stone hand emerged from the ground. It slowly opened, and inside were a saber and a book. Tianhui was stunned. "Isn't this your saber?" He replied, "No." Hai Xin picked up the saber. "It's yours." She took it, puzzled. Hai Xin explained, "This saber was left by your father. It's also what will lead you to find your true self. It was always meant to be yours. There's also a saber manual here. It must have been left by your father, too." She picked it up to look. "This saber technique is designed to counter the iron wall saber technique." But he glanced over and saw her hesitant expression. "What's wrong?" Tianhai explained, "This saber technique is extremely difficult. It takes 15 years just to master the first level. But I can't wait that long anymore. Even if I could wait." "Long Qi Zhengyi will soon realize I've changed." His words startled her. "There's no need to wait." Tianhui hurriedly questioned him, not understanding what he meant. Heidi pressed a point on her temple. Tianhui felt techniques and mantras continuously flooding her mind. He asked, "Have you advanced the breaking stance saber technique for Hua Tianhui's comprehension system, the repayment process for the breaking stance saber technique, and will be completed by you? 30% of the cultivation and merit you received. I will be paid to Hai Xin as interest." She was surprised. "What is this?" Hai Xin instructed. "This is the system's homepage, as long as you accept my advance. And you will see this. If you don't agree to pay me interest, you can cancel the advance immediately." Tianhui knelt down and bowed. "Master, please accept this disciple's bow." Hisin smiled and said, "Quickly get up. I will accept you as my disciple. Since you've just taken me as your master, I don't have anything too valuable, but I'll give you a Dharma robe later." Advance Mission Yunsu Guidance completed. Hanako don't stare at the sun peeking over the mountain ranges. She looked down at the blood seal on the back of her hand and then recalled a few things. She remembered Haishin's words from that time. "With this blood seal, from now on you and I are master and disciple sharing a single lifeblood. From this day forward, any harm you suffer will be borne by me, your master. Remember, this saber has a blood-boiling effect. The more injured you are, the stronger your attacks become." Suddenly a voice called out, "Huazi, what are you spacing out for?" Kaku beside her added, "Father is talking to you." The sect master sitting opposite them said, "Although Huazi showed some flaws in her character during the examination, thankfully she knew to turn back, kill those who stood in her way, and even managed to bring back this treasured saber for me. You are truly my daughter. My years of painstaking cultivation were not in vain." Hanako said seriously, "There's something I don't understand that I would like to ask you." Kaku, kneeling beside her, found this strange and reminded her, "Hey, why aren't you using respectful language? Where are your manners?" Hanako ignored him and continued, "Are the things you do worthy of the principles you claim to uphold?" The sect master stared at her intently. "What do you mean by that? Are you questioning my very principles as a person after all this time?" She solemnly tied up her hair and said, "So-called righteousness means spouting words of benevolence, propriety, wisdom, and integrity all day, while behind everyone's back you commit robbery, murder, arson, and annihilate entire families." Kaku stood up in a panic. "What are you talking about? Everything Father does is for our sect." While tying her hair, she said, "Fluent in minor courtesies, but lacking in great righteousness. Obsessed with trivial details, but devoid of morality. Moonfang boots. Superior grade reduces spirit energy consumption when casting spells." She continued seriously, dwelling only on petty details while disregarding honor, fearing only power and authority without knowing how to cherish virtue. Horse-face Dharma skirt. Superior grade increases the power of techniques that use spirit energy by 30%. Automatically absorbs spirit energy to self-repair. A few wisps of green wind appeared in Hanako's hand. She said, "The weak are suppressed and forced to submit." The saber on the table trembled, then flew instantly into her hand. Hanako said angrily, "And the strong will inevitably manipulate all." Suddenly, Kaku rushed from out of nowhere, intending to strike her. He shouted, "You insolent rebel, today I'll eliminate you on Father's behalf." Hanako swung her leg back and kicked him hard in the face. It sent Kaku flying out the window, leaving a large hole. The sect master said, "It seems you've found out something somehow. In that case, I don't need to pretend anymore." After speaking, he scowled and shouted, "Man!" A group of men holding weapons ran in. He ordered them, "Get her now!" The group charged at her aggressively. One of them swung his blade at Hanako. She quickly stepped back, dodging it. Then she used the saber in her hand to block his next attack. Hanako swiftly kicked the man's bald head, distorting his entire face. Once he was down, the next one advanced. He thrust his sword straight at her face. Hanako quickly dodged. Then she drew her saber and slashed him across the torso, sending blood flying. Throwing knives were continuously hurled at her. Hanako nimbly dodged and used her saber to deflect them, causing one of the thrown knives to ricochet back and hit one of the men. He coughed up blood and collapsed on the floor to the astonishment of his comrades. Suddenly, Hanako leaped into the crowd. They were surprised and wary of her. One of them shouted, "What the hell? She jumped right in here herself. Everyone get her, swing your blades and cut her down." A whole crowd of people quickly raised their weapons and charged at Hanako, who stood in the middle calmly observing. As one man slashed down from above, she blocked him with the sword in her hand. Then a series of other men began hacking at her. One of them yelled, "Keep at it, just a little more pressure." The other's surprise attack was about to break through her defenses when a man with a spear charged swiftly towards Hanako. Seeing this, she yelled, "Flash step radiant wall." A powerful surge of lightning erupted from her every footstep, sending her attackers flying back in pain as she leaped straight onto the roof. The roof exploded, leaving a large hole. The spearman from before looked up for her. He asked in confusion, Where did she go?" Then a sword slash came down from above, splitting both his spear and his body in two. She landed on the ground. Seeing this, another man charged from behind her but was quickly cut down. She then glided through each person, her sword striking without hesitation as blood splattered everywhere. The remaining men shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" There are so many of us, and we're losing to one girl. Hold the formation, don't let her break it. Seeing this, Mintai spoke. These idiots. Do they really think they can win just by outnumbering her? Even though she was just a kid, the sect master picked up from the outside and didn't inherit his martial talent when it comes to aptitude with a blade. She's definitely top tier in the sect. Unless our Ying sect's 3 swords step in, that girl won't stop. Then Hugh laughed and said, good point, so why don't you... Go in. You've been hiding on the side watching for a while now. Mintai replied, you think I'm an idiot? All 3 of the top swordsmen are here watching the show. There's no way I'm jumping in to be someone else's cannon fodder. Besides, my quick draw style is decided in a single instant. Naturally, I have to wait until she reveals a weakness. But by the time all the men were lying in pools of their own blood, Hanako was also at her limit. She panted heavily, using her sword to support herself. Mintai quickly noticed. He thought to himself, she's completely exhausted. This is the perfect chance. He then drew his sword and dashed forward, slashing at her like a gust of wind. Hanako sensed something, but before she could dodge, another man lunged in and slashed at her neck. From a distance, Long-On noticed and said, that girl's aura is getting weaker. She then turned and asked Haktan, aren't you going to step in and help? He replied, I'm surprised you care whether she lives or dies. I thought you'd resent her. I really thought you would, especially since she trapped you with that magic formation for quite a while. Long-On scoffed, humph. That pathetic little formation, I escaped it without even breaking a sweat, you know. After I got out of there, I realized you two were gone. I thought you had betrayed us and run away. Haktan then performed a technique with his hands and said, help her. Of course I have to help. Immediately, a golden barrier enveloped the buildings where Hanako was fighting. Golden Light Fortress. The rectangular golden barrier surrounded the area, trapping every last one of them. Long-On asked, you said you'd help, but you just trapped everyone from the Ying sect inside. So, doesn't that mean you trapped Hua Tianhui in there too? Haktan replied nervously. It's fine after all, I'll take the damage for her. Plus, with the blood boil effect active, I have faith in Tianhui. If things get too bad, I'll step in. I have to make sure not a single one of them escapes. When you get revenge, you have to rip it out by the roots. Hanako was struck and lay on the ground in a pool of blood. Seeing this, Mintai sheathed his sword and said smugly, 1 slash is all it took. She was nothing special after all. Then Hanako trembled as she used her sword to painfully push herself back to her feet. Seeing this, Mintai's face twisted in anger as he yelled, how is she still alive? I swear I slit her throat. He recalled that she had used her sword to block him. He said, it seems that reflexive block saved your life. Not bad luck, but I won't let you get away this time. With that, his eyes turned bloodshot as he rushed towards Hanako, zipping past her. She performed a technique with her hands and yelled, Spirit Energy Object Control, dodging and countering his attack. The blow shattered the wooden floorboards. Wood splinters flew everywhere. Mintai leaped up and slashed through the flying debris, blocking his path, shouting angrily, you think these cheap tricks can stop me? Blood boil activated. Damage plus 30%. Hanako lunged from behind, swinging her sword, and said calmly, I can't stop you, but forcing you to draw your blade first is enough. Suddenly, another sword blocked hers. Hanako was shocked. The man laughed. Even without the advantage of drawing first, my speed is more than enough to defend myself. Seeing this, she yelled, Stance Breaker! This technique instantly broke through Mintai's guard. In the end, she left a long gash on his body. Blood splattered onto the ground along with a severed arm. A system notification followed. Mission progress. After using Stance Breaker in combat, execute Stance Breaker Blade Arts 1 out of 5 times. Stance Breaker Blade Arts consumes a large amount of spirit energy. Upon a successful parry, it will bypass this opponent's defense and strike the enemy directly. The current weapon's spirit energy is too low. To continue using Stance Breaker Blade Arts, please wait for your spirit energy to recover. Seeing Tianhui finish off that guy, Mintai walked over and taunted, Ha, looks like the weakest one's been taken down. Walking beside him, Thanhu wondered, his blocking sword is still intact. How did she manage to cut the person standing behind the blade? After asking, he watched with a contemplative gaze, thinking to himself, it has only been a few days, and her cultivation has already progressed by leaps and bounds to this level. Before, Mentai's quick draw strike would have been enough to kill her several times over. From the front, Mintai turned and called out, let's all attack together. It's not that I'm not confident, I just think it's better if the credit for taking her down is shared equally among everyone. Thanhu excitedly drew his sword. I agree, you go first, I'll cover you from behind. Then he swung his blade, creating a powerful gust of wind. The space-breaking slash shot forward, but was swiftly dodged by Thien Hui. Nearby, Mintai charged forward with a gangster-like surprise attack. Incredibly agile Thien Hui moved quickly, raising her blade to block the blow. Then he landed a slash that sent Thien Hui flying into a wall, creating a huge impact. From the impact, a dark figure flew out. It was Thien Hui. She skillfully and slowly landed on the ground, then looked down at the saber in her hand. She thought, "The saber feels so heavy." Suddenly realizing something, her eyes widened in shock. Right beside her, Mintai had already slashed with his sword. He then stepped aside and swung again. Then he gave an arrogant smirk. Caught off guard, Thien Hui was struck and her saber was sent flying from her hand. Another slash came flying towards her. She desperately gathered her power into her bare hands and lunged forward. Using her spirit-controlling aura, she powerfully grabbed his blade with one hand. The scene was spectacular as dirt flew everywhere. Thien Hui was increasingly pushed down by the force until she was kneeling on the ground. She grimaced. The pressure from this blade? Suddenly a slash came from nowhere, aimed right at Thien Hui's stomach. She didn't see it coming and was sent flying in utter disbelief. Seeing this, Mintai looked at Thien Hui and smiled with satisfaction. "How cruel! You just sliced her in two!" Thien Hui replied with a calm expression. "Hurry up, give her one more cut. Chop off her head just to be sure." Hearing that, Mintai walked over to Thien Hui's body with his blade. He didn't hesitate to swing down hard, but she sensed it and jumped away. He looked up confused. Then he became doubtful. How is she still able to get up? Looking at her wound and clothes returning to their original state, he shouted, "Not just the wound, even her clothes are repairing themselves." After that, Mintai stood in a corner stunned. A fatal wound practically slicing her in half healed in the blink of an eye. Is this healing technique something a condensing reality realm user can even control? Thien Hui held out her hand, channeling her magic. Her saber quickly materialized in her palm. She stepped forward confidently. A system prompt appeared. Boiling blood activated. Damage plus 80%. Thien Hui planted her feet firmly on the ground, gathering momentum. Faced with this sight, Mintai's body began to tremble. What the hell is this? Why did I just subconsciously take a step back? She just has a healing trick that's a little more impressive than most, that's all. Mustering all his courage, he gripped his sword and charged, launching an attack. "No matter what, you can't withstand my blade. As long as I take your head, all your healing techniques will be useless." Refusing to be outdone, Thien Hui moved like lightning, swinging her saber to counter. The two slashes collided, radiating immense power. Thien Hui, standing nearby, started to worry. She got hit by a space-breaking slash that cut right through her, and she can still fight. And now she can even fight with her saber in one hand. Sensing things weren't right, he slowly drew his sword. "This brat just gets stronger the more we fight. I have to finish her off quickly." Sword in hand, Thien Hui rushed toward the other two with incredible speed, unleashing a series of continuous space-breaking slashes that split the ground. From a distance, 3 powerful slashes came flying one after another. Seeing this, Mintai panicked and yelled, "Are you trying to cut me down too?" Thien Hui laughed contemptuously and replied, "The sect will forever remember your sacrifice." Unwilling to accept his fate, Mintai jumped high into the air. "Like hell, I'll be your shield!" But he was caught by Thien Hui. Using her power to hold him in place, she stood below, looking up at him with a cold gaze. "Where do you think you're going?" Then Thien Hui used her magic to move Mintai's body to block the 3 slashes. Immediately after, the attacks landed, leaving behind a mangled streak of blood. From Thien Hui's perspective, he saw a cloud of smoke and dust with blood splattering everywhere. As the smoke gradually cleared, the ground was covered in a pool of blood. Thien Hui was surprised, thinking she disappeared. But he reacted instinctively. He quickly slashed sideways to his right towards where Thien Hui was. "Over here, huh? Got you?" She bent backwards, swiftly dodging the attack. Then Thien Hui landed skillfully on her hands. The system announced, "Spirit energy has been restored. Stance-breaking saber technique can now be used." Receiving the notification, she rushed in to fight Thien Hui using the stance-breaking saber technique. At this point, Thien Hui still managed a forced smile. "You're really good at taking a hit, but when it comes to swordsmanship, I'm not." Before he could finish his sentence, Thien Hui's blade had already sliced through his. Her saber then struck him right in the middle of his head. Only then did he finish his word, "bad." With a sharp, cold gaze, Thien Hui didn't hesitate to slice him in two. Blood gushed out like water. Thien Hui swung her sword forcefully, and the system announced a mission progress update. "Stance-breaking saber technique usages 2 out of 5. Then she turned her head to look at something. Standing on a rooftop, Long Kai clapped and praised, "Excellent, excellent." He added, "You've been improving as fast as the wind lately. This father is very pleased." Thien Hui's face darkened and she clenched her teeth. "Long Kai!" she roared, leaping high, ready to finish him off. "You're disgusting!" As she swung her sword, Long Kai simply raised his thin blade. He parried it effortlessly. The blade of Thien Hui's saber broke off, and she fell back to the ground. Long Kai was surrounded by many blades. Thien Hui's saber in hand knelt opposite him, wary. Realizing she couldn't beat him, Long Kai laughed confidently. "Back then, I mastered the Iron Wall saber technique. While you were still learning, I killed your entire family. It was indeed a wise decision. And so I am the sole master of this ultimate technique." Thien Hui's face darkened with tension. "That mouth of yours is about to split clear to the back of your head." He asked scornfully, "Ha, and what of it?" She gritted her teeth, looking at him with utter indignation. "You'd better keep that disgusting smile on your face. Because when I split your skull open later, I'll be following that line, and I don't want to miss." With a speed that cracked the very ground, Thien Hui instantly lunged in front of him. Two streams of power clashed violently, and just like that, the battle moved everywhere. Dust and debris flew as Long Kai's blades moved continuously. The blades became sharper. Although Thien Hui was cut and bleeding in many places, she remained fearless, continuously unleashing her attacks. He stood within the protective circle of his blades. He laughed scornfully. "This automatic defensive blade formation only consumes a bit of my magic power. No matter how recklessly you fight, you can't even scratch a single hair on my head. The harder you attack, the more you'll get hurt. Let's see how long you can last." With a determined gaze, Thien Hui charged forward. Blade-breaking stance. The two blades clashed violently. She quickly broke through his defensive layer, her blade gradually touching Long Kai. But then he smiled and blocked it effortlessly. System report mission progress for post-expenditure blade-breaking stance is 3 out of 5. Long Kai lowered his head, his eyes glinting. "As expected, that move of yours can only pierce one layer of defense. And that's it." Then Long Kai's protective circle of blades spun faster. "I've been watching from the start. I've already seen through all of your moves." Immediately, a barrage of blades rushed forward, striking Thien Hui repeatedly. Finally, silence fell. Thien Hui lay motionless in a pool of her own blood, staring up at the sky. Her face's reflection appeared in a cup of tea. The black cat stirred the tea and said, "Hey, your new little blood-sucking ghost is about to bite the dust." Then, with a start, it looked innocently at the Dragon King. "My lord, are you bleeding?" The other person replied gruffly, "It's just a little blood. Don't make a fuss." Looking at his body pale from blood loss, it exclaimed in alarm, "A little? It looks like a lot more than that." The two sat opposite each other as the cat continued, "To be honest, I know you're using that kid. But for you to take so many hits for him and his disciples, I don't believe there isn't some grand scheme behind it." The Dragon King gave an amused smile. Heaven's secrets must not be revealed. Returning to the battlefield, Long Kai's face was one of utter shock. Thien Hui's body, though, covered in wounds, stood up confidently and looked at him. "What's with that expression?" "I told you to keep that wide grin on your face." He wasn't afraid, smiling brightly. "This time I'll definitely chop you into minced meat." System report blood boil activated. Damage plus 1,705. Thien Hui's blade began to create a current of wind, causing stones to levitate around her. Her face darkened as she gripped her sword and charged forward with godlike speed this time. She broke through his first layer of defense, reaching Long Kai's face in a flash of lightning. But another layer of protection blocked her. Long Kai was still smiling brightly. Then he gripped his sword, which was shrouded in power, and prepared to attack, die. But then, Thien Hui's blade broke through the remaining layer of protection and swiftly slashed straight into Long Kai's mouth. He was stunned. "What, you can pierce the second layer too?" Thien Hui slashed across his head with a cold expression. "I told you. I would definitely slash that disgusting mouth of yours wide open." Immediately, a powerful gust of wind appeared. She shouted, "Blade-breaking stance, second duet!" His head was severed, and the force of the blow blasted backward. After the battle, sunlight shone down on the rubble. A notification appeared, "Post-expenditure blade-breaking stance mission complete, 5 out of 5. Long Kai lay in a pool of blood. Behind him was a scene of devastation and ruin. Long Kai's son, hiding behind a nearby wall, had witnessed everything. He thought in terror, Father's iron wall blade technique was supposed to be an absolute defense. So how could Huazi shatter it? Immediately, Kijak turned and fled for his life. Anyway, I'm the sect master now. He laughed happily as he ran. Just wait until I get out of here, get reinforcements from the main sect far away, and then I'll come back and take your head. I don't care if you're Huazi or Hua Tien Hui. As he was running, a strange power appeared beneath his feet. Not yet realizing Kijak was still thinking, as you people would say, where there's life, there's hope. The moment the words left his mouth, a sealed circle, a slaughter trap appeared beneath Kijak's feet. Then a fiery vortex erupted, reaching for the heavens. A system notification appeared. The Long Kai family of the Ying sect has been completely wiped out. Hua Tianhui's post-expenditure mission is complete. Tianhui stood watching the flames engulf the building before her. The knot in her heart had been untied. Mom, Dad, sister, I've avenged you all. I've avenged you. The wind blew, sending leaves rustling through the air. Haktan pointed a finger at her. Tianhui, well done. A notification sound rang out. 30% of the cultivation and merit earned from this mission has been paid to Haktan. Hua Tianhui's cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the true condensation realm. Haktan's current cultivation realm has reached its limit, and he can now advance to the golden core realm. Tianhui fiddled with her tattered robes. Master, this magic robe can't repair itself anymore. He held up 2 fingers, spiritual energy flowing from them. It's all right. Model. It's just because the spiritual energy in your body is too weak right now. I've opened up shop access for you so you can get a new set on advance. She turned and began browsing the shop. Yes, thank you, Master. A moment later, she chose a new set. I'll take this one. The style was similar, with nearly identical attributes. Suddenly, Tianhui stammered with a nervous laugh, scratching her cheek. But after getting it on advance, I have to pay back 500,000. I can't afford that. He reassured her, it's all right. Before you burned down the Longqi clan's house, I'd already collected nearly all of their assets. We can just use their own legacy to pay for it. Suddenly, the hair on Haktan's arms stood on end. He took a sharp breath. There was killing intent. Long An was glaring at him, seething. Master, you're way too biased towards my junior sister. I became your disciple first, so how come I don't get anything? He quickly turned to placate her. Calm down, I'll give you an advance right now. Hearing this, she was satisfied. Now that's more like it. He asked, what do you want to upgrade your cultivation-level equipment or techniques? She clenched her fist muscles, bulging. Only kids have to choose. I'll take everything. Hearing her answer, he spoke loudly as a stream of spiritual energy appeared on his fingertip. Advance upgrade. Twin Feather Greatsword. A system panel appeared before Long An. Oh, so I can see this system interface too. Before you is a prompt. The Twin Feather Greatsword has been upgraded. Please complete the mission within 1 week. Upon completion, your cultivation-level equipment and techniques will be upgraded. If you wish to begin the mission, please press the button to be teleported to the corresponding secret realm. She selected the button. Haktan spoke up. Hey, are you planning to go right now? What about the second exam? Long An said, annoyed. What's there to think about? It's not like it's a real university entrance exam. As long as you, Master, can lead me to ascension in the end, what happens along the way, I don't care. Instantly, she disappeared, leaving behind only a few specks of light. Tianhui exclaimed, Senior sister is so cool! Haktan looked at his phone. Just let her be. The school just sent a notification. It says, to go pick up our passes for the second simulation exam. The scene shifted to Than Yan. She seemed a bit annoyed to see the two of them. You two, why are you only showing up now? The other students picked theirs up a whole week ago. He explained, we had so many makeup classes my brain got fried so I completely forgot. Where's the exam hall? She continued, there's a magic seal carved into the pass. Activating it with your spiritual power will teleport you directly to the exam site. He exclaimed, whoa, so high-tech. Than Yan crossed her arms. One of you really shined in the last simulation exam, outshining even the school's top students, jumping straight to number 1 in the entire grade. He laughed while scratching his head. Ha ha, that was just luck. Just luck. She warned, this second simulation exam is a joint test with 10 schools. They're all full of experts. Among them, there are bound to be some who use dirty tricks, so be careful. The next day, Tianhui's worried voice rang out. Master, do you think we'll be at the same exam site? Haktan clenched his pass. Not sure. The sites are assigned randomly. Stay safe. We'll meet at the finish line. He channeled his spiritual energy into the pass and a golden light appeared. Let's go. The light from the magic circle illuminated his determined face. A moment later, Haktan stared straight ahead. Before him was a forest filled with enormous ancient trees, soaring as if to pierce the heavens. He thought to himself, so this is the ancient tree forest secret realm. I've only ever read about it in the syllabus. Now that I'm actually here, I see the trees are way bigger than I imagined. In the sky, a drone zipped past. A camera and mic were attached underneath it. An announcement rang out. The exam begins. As the voice faded, a large shadow blotted out. Bap! The sunlight drawing Haktan's attention. In front of him was a 5th-level spirit condensation realm, Bear Demon. It roared, swinging its giant arm to attack. At that exact moment, he also clenched his fist and threw a punch. Meeting its attack head-on, his fist slammed into the Bear Demon's stomach. Its eyes bulged as its entire body was sent flying. The Bear Demon then skidded far across the ground, leaving a long trail of blood. Another spirit condensation creature was sent flying, its eyes wide and its tongue lolling out. The one who had just knocked it out was B.A., ranked 3rd from Chibi High School number 6. In the background, 2 girls were jumping and cheering. Young Master Quan Hao. Young Master Quan Hao forever. The strongest Young Master Quan Hao. Young Master Quan Hao forever the strongest. They were the 9th and 10th ranked from High School number 6. The twin sisters Ton Thuong and Ton Tuong. He crossed his arms and smiled in response. The first monster is just a freebie. That last one wasn't even enough for a warm-up. He recalled the image of Haktan and couldn't help but think, Haktan, I only lost to you in the first mock exam. Because I was careless. I'm not weaker than you, just you wait. Suddenly, a soft cry from behind made Quan Hao's face pale. He slowly turned his head. Behind him was a spectacle-wearing bear monster, a 6th-level beast of the condensation realm. Its blood-red eyes made him scream. Those ferocious eyes. Then his gaze shifted to the scars, all of these scars. He seemed timid and scared. You could tell this monster was an extremely formidable being who had climbed to the top of the food chain on its own. His aura was just as strong as that mushroom monster's. Behind the rock, Ton Thuong was amazed. Wow, young Master Lai is so cool. Facing such a strong monster and still standing his ground. Ton Tuong nodded. Totally. Quan Hao's feet wouldn't stop trembling, his face growing paler and paler. Why can't I move my legs? Is the psychological trauma from the last exam really this bad? Suddenly something made the spectacled bear monster look to its right. Then it bent its legs and ran, fear plastered on its face. Quan Hao was stunned by the sight. Why would the monster run away now? Haktan zipped past him from behind. Running so fast he created a gust of wind. He jumped and yelled, "What was that?" Staring at the dust cloud in front of him, Quan Hao wondered, was that just Haktan? Excitement quickly overwhelmed his fear. He gave chase, a crazed smile on his face. My cute little bear, where do you think you're going? On a tree was a deep indentation surrounded by blood. On the ground were scattered blood-stained boulders. Quan Hao slowly approached. A pool of blood caught his eye. His eyes widened, sweat pouring down his face. This is... Ahead of him were the corpses of the monsters Haktan had been chasing. Each of their bodies had a hole punched through it by his fist. The sight before him made Quan Hao tremble. These 10-something beasts were all elite monsters at the 5th to 6th level of the coagulated steppe realm, yet he wiped them out so easily, and I was naive enough to think I could compete with him. A voice echoed through the forest as a magical projection appeared announcing, Exam number 1 has concluded. Prepare for exam number 2. There are currently 72 out of 100 contestants remaining. The temporary rankings are Chuang Tri, the 200 points, Haktan 200 points, Vuong Bin 198 points, Hua Tianhui 186 points, MacDon 180 points. A muscular young man looked up and exclaimed, "Can you believe it? Someone actually managed to turn a freebie question into a life-or-death one. That's Vuong Bin for you, the top student from number 8 high school." His voice was laced with a bit of awe. For this second simulation exam, the rules state that only the top 10 students from each school's grade level can participate. You guys are really embarrassing your school's top 10 titles. Then he turned to Thien Hui. What do you say, beautiful, am I right? She remained silent, turning her face away and ignoring him. Then she leaped up into a tree. Vuong Bin tilted his head up, following her movement. He smirked, raised his hand to form a seal, and cast ground-shrinking art. Instantly, he teleported behind her. Vuong Bin's mouth kept running. Earlier when I was watching you during the first exam, I could already tell you have a lot of potential. Have you thought about what you'll do after the exam is over? How about joining our sect? With someone as gifted as you, once I get the qualifications to take on disciples, the first thing I'll do is make you my head disciple. Tianhui's eyes widened in annoyance. She glanced back at him with a disdainful look. This guy. First he steals my monster, and now he's been following me around rambling on for ages. So annoying. The system panel appeared. Exam number 2 will now begin. Hidden within the exam area are a number of armor-piercing claws. Collecting 10 armor-piercing claws will allow you to forge 1 armor-piercing spear, which will greatly increase your chances of defeating the guardian beast of the pass. The scene changes. High above, a young man stood with his hands behind his back, his voice full of contempt. Trying to be all mysterious. The guardian beast of the pass. And isn't it just on top of that mountain? The man shouted, "Wind-riding, wind-stepping art!" A current of wind appeared beneath his feet, lifting him up. He flew high into the air, both his arms enveloped in a whirlwind. This was MacDon, the top student from number 7 high school. He flashed a confident smile. I am the peerless genius of the Mac family. A genius who can ride the wind and fly before even reaching the Golden Core realm. What do I need an armor-piercing spear for? Watch me behead this great beast myself. Standing before him was a massive, ferocious 10th-level coagulated steppe realm black ape. MacDon's body was surrounded by a whirlwind. He waved his hand, and immediately a powerful gust of wind swept forward. Pebbles and stones shot toward the black ape. And I thought the guardian beast of the pass was supposed to be tough. Turns out its realm is only the same as mine. Wind-riding, adamant gale, boulder break. Whirlwinds as sharp as blades attacked the black ape. Cuts from the wind appeared on the cliff face, radiating from its position. A swirling circle of wind kicked up earth and rocks. Even a large boulder was shattered by MacDon's attack. From a distance, watching from a tree branch, Vuong Bin said, "No way! Is that all it takes for him to win this bet?" A moment later, MacDon hovered in the air, hands behind his back, looking down at the thick cloud of dust. He spoke arrogantly, "The points for this second exam are mine." Suddenly, he sensed something. His brows furrowed as he thought, I suddenly feel an extremely powerful aura. He reacted instantly. MacDon shot out of his position. His expression was tense, a cold sweat beading on his forehead. I need to create some distance first. From within the thick cloud of dust, the black ape shot out with astonishing speed. It stretched its enormous arms toward MacDon. MacDon, surprised, glanced behind him, his face frozen with fear. It's completely unharmed. Instantly, MacDon thrust his hands forward using the wind-riding wind wall technique. Right after the ape clapped its massive hands together, creating a blast of wind that flew toward him, but he managed to block it. The incredibly powerful counterattack slammed into MacDon, causing him to grimace in pain. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. The pressure from the two colliding attacks created a heaven-shaking explosion. But MacDon was sent flying by the explosion, crashing through branches and hitting the ground hard, sending dirt and rocks flying. A small crater formed where he landed, and he lay sprawled out, his body convulsing. His eyes were shut tight, and he was coughing up blood. Meanwhile, the black demon ape also landed right beside him, creating a large indentation in the ground. Vuong Bin sat there, one hand on his leg, observing. Idiot. This is what happens when you don't read the exam instructions. He even dragged a great demon down here. He looked at the black ape demon and assessed it. Luckily, it doesn't seem like it will attack on its own. His gaze fell to its sharp claws. This great demon has armor-piercing claws. But to solve it, I first need to get the armor-piercing claws. What kind of backward test is this? Suddenly, Vuong Bin seemed to realize something. His eyes widened. Before, he'd seen a few elite bear demons with armor-piercing claws. They were rare, but if he hunted hard enough now... Just then, a brown bear demon with glowing red eyes appeared. It swung its fist and charged. He immediately got into a fighting stance. The demon punched hard into the base of a tree, creating a hole, when suddenly a jet of water shot straight through the monster's chest. It froze in shock, its eyes wide as blood spurted out. The monster fell backward, kicking up a cloud of dust. Vuong Bin was still holding his attack pose for Water Jet Ray. He walked over to the monster's corpse to inspect it. Not every elite bear demon has armor-piercing claws. This stuff is incredibly rare. Let's see if I hit the jackpot with this one. Holding the armor-piercing claw of Vuong Bin's side. This really isn't easy. I had to beat more than 10 elite ones just to find a single claw. Just then a figure flew past overhead. He looked up and saw 3 armor-piercing claws tied to the girl's hip. His jaw dropped in astonishment. He couldn't believe she'd already gotten 3 of them. His determination surged. He started flailing his arms and legs, unleashing moves wildly as he roared, "I can't lose, chaotic water spears!" The rumbling sound echoed throughout the forest. Not far away, Quan Hao was standing majestically on a cliff. A sudden thump made him glance behind him. Tian Hui was kneeling on one knee, reporting, "Master, I have gathered 6 armor-piercing claws. If you don't have enough, Master, you can take—" Quan Hao turned to look at her and replied calmly, "I appreciate the sentiment, but there's no need." He bent down, thrusting one hand toward the sky and releasing a terrifying amount of energy. He activated his skill pre-computed armor-piercing spear. Standing beside him, Tian Hui's expression grew tense. Just then, a long black spear radiating powerful energy appeared in Quan Hao's hand. A series of strikes pierced straight into the bear, and it finally collapsed. Vuong Bin came over to search it. He pulled out a claw and cheered, "9, just 1 more to go." The system leaderboard appeared. First place, Vuong Bin, 9 out of 10. Second place, Chuang Tri, the 7 out of 10. Third place, Hua Tian Hui, 6 out of 10. 67th place, Hak Tan, 0 out of 10. As he read, Vuong Bin muttered, "That Hak Tan guy, the one who solved the super hard bonus question, turns out to be nothing special. All reputation, no substance. The one who's going to pass this second test. It is definitely going to be me." Suddenly, the system announced Hak Tan has finished crafting the armor-piercing spear. Vuong Bin read it, his jaw dropping. "Huh!" Watching him from nearby, Tian Hui thought, "He could predict even this master is incredible." Elsewhere, Hak Tan held up 2 fingers radiating power. "That Mac fellow's wind magic from before was pretty interesting. I looked it up. It's all in the public domain, no copyright disputes, so I can use it in advance." The name of the technique was announced Pre-Computation Magic Wind Control. After finishing the pre-computation for Hua Tian Hui, he turned to look at her. The scoring for the second test is based on the damage each contestant deals to the giant demon. In a moment, I'll whittle the giant demon's health down to almost nothing. Then you rush in and deliver the finishing blow. That way, both of our scores will be the highest. She nodded. "Yes." With that, Hak Tan also grabbed his blade and leaped into the chasm. He plummeted down with incredible speed. In the middle of the forest was a colossal black silhouette, a giant demon. It sensed him and looked up. The giant demon then clapped its hands together, creating an immense gust of wind. The wind tore through the treetops. Hak Tan continued his descent, charging straight into the attack with determination. Then he kicked off to one side to propel himself. Immediately after, he shot back up into the sky. A lone, brilliant flash of light appeared against the bright sun. The giant demon stared in astonishment as he shot down from the sky like a rocket. The impact created a shockwave that sent the giant demon flying. Next, he swung his blade in an arc in front of the giant demon. Dust and smoke billowed out, rushing toward it. Suddenly, from within the smoke, the tip of his blade emerged, plunging straight down and piercing into the demon's abdomen. Holding his stance, Hak Tan unleashed his magic power. Dark Nether Thunder. Instantly, the space lit up as dazzling bolts of lightning surged into the giant demon's body. It gripped the blade, yanking it out and roaring in agony. Then the giant demon noticed something amiss and looked over in fear, only to be knocked flat on its back. The technique was announced Wind Control Wind Sealing Art. The blade, still embedded in the giant demon, Hak Tan, looking terrifying, sent it flying 1,000 meters. After the impact, the forest filled with smoke and dust. Vuong Bin, who was nearby, was stunned. "How dare you steal my kill?" He lay sprawled on the ground, trembling. As he sat up, his head spun. "Was I knocked unconscious?" Then he turned and saw something that left him stunned. Over there, a large tree had been snapped, sending up clouds of dust. Nearby, Hak Tan, brimming with power, was attacking the giant demon. He looked more and more terrifying as he continued his relentless assault. Thousands of slashes rained down, tearing into the giant demon's abdomen and sending blood flying. Hak Tan then pointed his blade forward, and the thrust pierced through a tree with immense force. The huge ancient tree snapped and crashed to the ground. Hak Tan held his pose, the tip of his blade aimed at the tree, while the giant demon, having dodged the blow, stood to the side. Vuong Bin watched this and smirked. "So the bear demon shrank itself, huh? It knew it couldn't dodge or block in time, so it shrank to become more agile," he sneered. "Let's see how you handle this, Hak Tan. If you can't finish the job, I'm jumping in to steal the credit." Not giving up, Haktan changed his angle of attack and continued to unleash thousands of slashes. This time, the giant demon raised its fist to counter. Haktan reacted instantly, raising his blade to block the punch. The force was overwhelming. He was knocked back thinking, even though it shrunk, its attack power is still insane. His brow furrowed. It's condensing its energy into armor on its arm. It didn't use this before shrinking. It must not have mastered this technique, which is why it couldn't cover its entire giant body. A combination of physical and magical defense. No wonder the exam only said this would greatly increase the chances of passing instead of guaranteeing it. With that thought, Haktan changed course and climbed onto a rocky ledge. Seeing this, the giant demon pursued him closely. Seeing this, he expertly spun his blade in a circle from where he stood. He took a running start and lunged toward the great demon with a returning spear thrust. The great demon stood its ground facing the direct attack. It quickly activated the armor across its chest, which glowed with a golden light. As if anticipating everything, Haktan remained steadfast, aiming to pierce its throat. From that position, he gathered his strength and lunged forward powerfully. He stabbed straight into the monster's throat. A huge explosion erupted, its immense power blasting through the cracks in the rocks. Haktan slowly walked along the spear towards the monster. He spoke his analysis aloud. Controlling the damage to leave it with exactly half its health isn't easy, huh? But leaving this remaining half of its health bar for Tianhui to finish off should be enough to pass the stage. And so Haktan turned around and called out, "Tianhui, hurry over here!" At that exact moment, a figure zipped past him. Haktan was startled, his eyes filled with confusion. MacDon said manically, "Let me just leech this last bit of health, shall I?" Wind control. Defensive blade. He gathered his power, creating great gusts of wind. After laughing maniacally, MacDon suddenly froze. He stared blankly at the bare, slippery cliff face. Then he turned around and saw that Tianhui had already taken the black bear. She reached out her hand, casting a spell, Wind Control Wind Slash. Instantly, the system announced, "Cassock Bear Demon has been eliminated." MacDon was stunned. Object control and now wind control, and even an attack technique I've never seen before. He thought, what's with these people, one after another? Every single one of them knows wind control. You lower-class trash aren't worthy of using high-level magic like my Mac family. MacDon strode forward and said, "I just closed my eyes for a second. And you guys already snatched it from right under my nose. That bear's remaining health bar was mine." Tianhui retorted playfully, "You're only mentioning sleeping. But you don't dare breathe a word about why you were sleeping, do you?" Hearing her challenge, he instantly flew into a rage, veins popping on his forehead. "Among all the contestants here, you two are the lowest of the low. You have no sect backing whatsoever, and no one can find any information on you, or any connection to any prominent figures. You're just two nameless cultivators, even if I killed you both right here, and the examiners wouldn't say a thing." She looked at him silently, disgusted by the repulsive smirk on his lips. One half of his face, which appeared incredibly sinister, was right in front of Tianhui's eyes. That expression was exactly like someone from her past. In the next moment, her eyes narrowed. Execution line, carrying a terrifying killing intent. Tianhui rushed forward. Haktan yelled from the side, "Tianhui, don't kill other contestants in the exam hall." MacDon replied contemptuously, "What are you talking about? A low-class nobody thinks she can kill a genius like me." After that, he immediately put up a defense in mid-air, wind control defensive shield. Tianhui didn't stop continuing her attack straight into the barrier of wind. MacDon laughed confidently. "This wind shield is infused with my spiritual power. Its defensive capability is impenetrable." But before he could finish gloating, he saw she was right in front of him. MacDon started to panic. How did you get in?" Then, as if it took no effort at all, Tianhui exhaled lightly. The sword in her hand spun a few more times, and then she powerfully slammed it straight into MacDon's stomach. The force was so incredible that it sent him flying a great distance. MacDon crashed straight through a tree trunk, leaving a huge gash. Haktan flew over and said, "Phew! For a second there, I thought you were really going to mince him. Good thing I used the back of the blade." She said, annoyed, "The proctors are in the exam hall. Killing another contestant just like that would be a huge pain, but I won't forget that execution line." The system announced, "This mock exam has concluded. Here are the final rankings. Haktan Hua Tianhui Wangbin." Tianhui said worriedly, "I only have 6 armor-piercing claws. I'm still missing 4 more." Haktan reassured her, "It's okay. I'll go farm them right away. Suddenly, at that moment, Vuong Bin spoke up. I have a few here. You can have them all. Haktan asked, You don't need them anymore. You can take these back to craft weapons. They're high-quality materials. He laughed. You and classmate Tian Hui took all the points anyway. What's the point of me keeping these quest items? My family doesn't lack weapon materials. I might as well go with the flow and give them to you. Hey, handsome, come over here. Let's talk in private for a bit. Let's leave the exam hall first, Haktan said cautiously. What are you planning to do? I'm straight, you know. The system chimed, 10 out of 10 armor-piercing claws collected. Supplementary mission predictor spear armor piercer has been completed. Later inside the building, Vuong Bin's voice echoed, I've invited you two here today, mainly because I see that you are both rare talents. He sat down and began to speak seriously. Just hear me out, whether it's for the college entrance exams or later on. When you step out into society and become a slave to capitalism, the ultimate goal is always to join a major sect. Normally, modern sects don't directly recruit high school students. But now, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that can save you 5 years of struggle. As the son of the sect master of the body, forging sect one of the 10 great sects, and the destined successor of the sect, I extend my most sincere invitation for you two to join. Haktan slowly refused. We already have a sect. We have a... Upon hearing this, Vuong Bin was instantly petrified on the spot. Haktan pointed to her. This is my disciple. Tian Hui replied, This is my master. Vuong Bin's face immediately turned cold. What a waste of my grand speech. What's the name of your sect? Suddenly remembering, she asked with curiosity. Come to think of it, I also forgot to ask what our sect's name is. Master, you should tell him loud and clear. What is the name of our sect? After hearing that, Haktan's blood ran cold. He answered, We're screwed. He shouted in a panic, I forgot to register our sect. Hearing that, Tian Hui immediately fell backward while Vuong Bin slammed his hand on the table and burst out laughing. His laughter was so loud it echoed through the entire building. A while later, in a high-rise building, Hak Dae walked up to a door waiting for the elevator. Meanwhile, Ma Don stood watching him on the surveillance monitor, gritting his teeth as veins popped on his face. Everyone was chatting lively, surprised at how smoothly the registration process was going. Yeah, I thought it would be a lot more trouble. Haktan walked up to room number 7. Seeing him approach, Hathan asked what procedure he was there for. Haktan stated clearly, I want to register a sect. The man quickly asked for his name and information. Right after he answered, Hathan's face went pale. Tan. His hand trembled as he asked, Do you have a recommendation letter from a major sect? Haktan replied coolly, No. Hathan continued, Have you broken through to the Golden Core realm yet? He replied, I'm about to. The registrar immediately refused him. So that's a no. Annoyed, Haktan touched the computer. That's not right. The man asked again, Do you have a sect master trial certificate? He yelled, What the hell is that now? Hathan explained, You have to enter a designated secret realm with the status of a sect master to complete a trial and receive the sect master trial certificate. Haktan argued back, You have to let me register the sect first. Only then can I get the sect master status to go and complete the trial. I don't care. You must complete the trial before you can register the sect. His eyes turned fierce as he stressed, You. Seeing that intensity, the man started to get scared. He quickly swallowed. Then Haktan angrily slammed the door and stormed out. Hathan let out a sigh of relief. I thought he was going to lose it. After all, he's a level 10 condensing reality realm cultivator. Suddenly a voice rang out from behind him. A low-class, fighter. What's so scary about him? Seeing the person approach, Hathan called out, Cousin, the man said manically. So what if he's at the 10th level of the condensing reality realm? Didn't he almost lose to me during the second mock exam? Helplessly, Hathan gently reminded him he almost lost, and then glanced down at Ma Don's wound-covered stomach, and at his hand, which was in a huge cast. He gave a fake thumbs up and praised, You're so amazing, cousin. The first 2 conditions were already enough to block him. But the third condition was originally that after the preliminary review, you'd get a temporary sect master certificate to go complete the trial, then you'd come back to pass the final review. Only then could you receive the official sect master certificate. Just now I deliberately changed the requirements to target him. This move has completely blocked any possibility of him establishing a sect of his. Don gloated. Surprise Hacktan. The registration office is full of my family. You've crossed me, so I'll make your life difficult forever. A while later, at the high-rise building where Hacktan lived, he spoke up. What are the prerequisites to break through to the Golden Core realm? Tianhui answered. First, you must cultivate to the 10th level of the condensing reality realm. Master has already met this condition. You also need to consume the blazing flame mushroom and chilling bone grass. Both are rare medicinal ingredients that must be collected from high-level secret realms. Hacktan started working on the computer. Let me look up if these medicinal ingredients have any connection to the Sect Master trial. I'll try to solve it all in one go. Found it. There's a Sect Master trial secret realm that has previous records of collection. Debts of the blazing flame mushroom and chilling bone grass. That's the one. But this secret realm is located in another sect's territory. To get there, the only way is to join their team. She looked on as he read, but their group requirement is to form a party to go. To the Wuchang Relic Site, a Sect Master trial secret realm requires a Sect Master who has completed the trial. Yihong asked curiously, Hey, how much longer do we have to call for people? I'm getting so impatient. Dubin reassured her. Darling, don't rush. I just got one more person. Tachan pointed out, Hey, he's here. The girl complained, Hey, what kind of person did you invite? Why is it a student? He clearly doesn't meet the group's requirements. He asked, Hey, kid, did you even read the conditions for joining this group? Hacktan calmly responded, I read them carefully. Tachan asked doubtfully, You need to have this official Sect Master token. Only then can you join. How could a student like you have one? He secretly cast a spell. Of course I do. Of course I have one. Wait a minute, let me look for it. The man scoffed. Are you kidding me? Just bluffing? Where would a high school student like you get one of those, the system displayed, advance payment official Sect Master token? Hacktan took out the card. See, a brand new Sect Master token. After that, Tachan slowly cast a formation to open the door. Immediately, a cave opened up in the middle of the cliff face. Tachan instructed, All right, everyone, let's go. He marveled, So it's a hidden secret realm entrance opened by a special incantation. The man explained, These secret realms are all important assets of a sect. We can't just let outsiders enter as they please. Hacktan asked curiously. Let me ask you something. Is it very rare for a high school student to establish their own sect? Tachan replied, It's quite rare now. In the past, you just had to reach the condensing reality realm to be able to apply. For example, the Doan sect. I don't know who wiped them out. Their sect master Ryuzaki Sawaichi had just broken through to the condensing reality realm when he applied for its establishment. Back then, it was still approved. But the competition is so fierce now that the entry threshold has been raised. In principle, anyone below the Golden Core realm won't be approved unless you have a recommendation letter from a major sect. In that case, you might be given special consideration like a regular high school student. How can anyone even reach the Golden Core realm? You must have a recommendation letter from some major sect. Right. You've got some connections, don't you? He forced a smile, trying to brush off the conversation. Yihong pleaded, Big brothers, you have to help me complete the Sect Master trial this time. Tachan assured her, Don't worry, I'll definitely protect you and make sure you pass. Dubin added, That's right. With the two of us to rely on here, what is there to worry about? Hacktan silently assessed the situation. So that's how it is. It's two people carrying one. No wonder this mystic realm clearly allows for 3 people. Yet they insisted on bringing an extra person. They're looking for a fool to carry the burden. Whatever. As long as it doesn't affect me completing my mission, I don't care about them. The system displayed the mission to be completed. Advance the Sect Master trial token? He secretly channeled his internal energy. Advanced to the Golden Core realm. The status panel now reads, You can now delegate most of your advance now pay later tasks to your disciples for completion. Hacktan was satisfied. Perfect. Tianhui also needs to complete her wind control technique training. I'll just give this to her. The system announced supplementary mission wind control technique has been assigned to Hoa Tianhui. She looked at him puzzled. That outsider guy, how strong is he? He replied with bored disdain, Look at that dopey expression of his. What kind of power could he possibly have? Use the intersect telepathy. Don't worry, he's just cannon fodder. He won't affect our plans. Tachan began to direct them. 3 branching cave entrances. Wai Hong was surprised. Haven't you guys been through here before? Why does it seem like your first time? He replied. Take a guess why this place is called the Impermanent Mystic Realm. Every time you enter the terrain changes randomly, adding a lot of unpredictable factors. Otherwise, why would this place be designated as the Sect Master's Trial Mystic Realm? Just then, Tuchan's eyes lit up as his divine sense revealed a bottomless black pit. A strong wind blew out. He pointed and said, "Hey, pretty boy, I've scouted it out for you. The middle cave has the lowest difficulty. We'll take the hit and let you have it." Afterwards, Haktan went into the dark cave alone. The three of them watched, and he spoke viciously. "See, that idiot is so gullible." She chimed in, "It's because of fools like him, and that our plan can succeed, and time again." Wai Hong remarked, "How much harder is the cave he went into compared to ours?" Tuchan replied, "They're worlds apart, what do you think? Our left cave has no small fry. We just need to take out the boss. When I was scouting earlier, I even felt a familiar demonic aura, which means it's a mob I've dealt with before, so it's a sure thing. But the middle cave entrance is completely different. I sensed a ton of unfamiliar demonic auras, which means the monsters in there are not only strong, but also as numerous as ants. That student kid's sect master token was definitely obtained through connections. Just look at that green face of his, you can tell he has zero actual combat experience. He'll probably pee his pants when he runs into this." At that moment, Haktan was walking calmly through the dark cave alone. Suddenly, something caught his attention. Something's there. Immediately after, an arrow flew silently towards Haktan. He casually deflected the arrow with his hand, changing its direction. Haktan looked into the distance and realized something was there, gathering spiritual energy in his other hand. Wind-controlling, void-breaking palm. Finally, a single Black Emperor palm strike shook the three realms. His power was so immense that a huge boulder was blown away and a monster slowly revealed itself in the darkness. Its body, struck by Haktan's attack, was split in two. The system reported, "Shadowy Mushroom Demon Archer, 5th level of the Condensation Realm has been eliminated." He mused, "An invisible monster. I almost took an arrow. Good thing I got to experience the Golden Core realm beforehand. My ability to sense demonic energy is much sharper." Immediately after, Haktan's eyes narrowed again. He reacted quickly, catching an arrow that flew at him, and then his other hand began to channel demonic power again. A strike was unleashed with a massive amount of violent power. Another invisible monster was blown to pieces. Haktan's stance didn't relax. He remained on high alert. Dazzling sparks shot from his calf. Another monster swarmed towards him. Finally, Haktan drew his weapon and slashed. He spoke in a cold tone. "From a distance it's one thing, but for killing intent this close." How could I not have noticed it? Haktan's blade pierced through its body. It then grew larger, attacking the monsters farther away. He moved quickly, gradually closing in on them. Suddenly, Haktan's entire body froze, his eyes wide with surprise. The blade in his hand danced from left to right at blinding speed. Haktan spun it in a wide circle, sweeping the area. Splatters of monster blood flew outwards, then splattered everywhere. There was also movement around him. He was once again surrounded by invisible monsters. In that instant, the air seemed to freeze. Right above Haktan's head, an energy was rushing towards him. Arrows flew at him, but he shattered them all with a spin of his weapon. "One by one, huh?" Hayton cursed them as a bunch of cowards who only know how to snipe from the shadows. Finally, he delivered a powerful blow that shook the ground. A strong wind snaked through every corner of the cave, filling the space with a chilling atmosphere. A horrifying sound erupted as the invisible monsters in a state of frenzy were caught in the spiritual energy. They whispered, "This massive tornado looks impressive, but it turns out it doesn't have any real damaging power." "I see. Is this all a cultivator amounts to?" Their guard was down. Haitan appeared behind them and said, "But now, I've got you all." It turned and tried to retaliate by shooting an arrow, but he casually deflected it with his bare hand. The ground cracked as more and more purple crystals emerged from it. Swarms of invisible monsters appeared clinging to the cliff walls. All the arrows they fired down were destroyed by Haitan. The entire chaotic scene was captured through the eyes of a small paper effigy. Using its tiny body, it spied on them. Tuchan, who received the image, frowned. Beside him, Yi Hong asked, "So is that idiot still alive?" He replied, "The original plan was to use him as a meat shield and scout out what kinds of monsters there are and what their moves are. That way when we go in later, we'd know how to strategize. Who would have thought this brat would clear the stage so easily?" "Dubin, change of plans. We're not killing this demon king here. Lure it over to where that idiot is." He immediately took out a glowing axe. Dubin then threw it with great force, sending it spinning through the air. A moment later, it landed on a crimson rock. At that instant, the volcano became active and began to erupt. Sensing the change, Haitan's expression immediately turned cold. Red/marks now covered the surrounding pillars, remnants of Haton's battle to eliminate the purple monsters. When he was finished, he leaned on his staff and sighed. Suddenly, Haton froze when he noticed a trickle of blood on his neck. He quickly dodged as a powerful slash swept past, leaving a white streak on the ground and splattering drops of blood. Haton looked at the cut on his neck, thinking, I didn't even realize it until it grazed my neck. This attack wasn't from those regular minions. If I hadn't reacted fast enough, my head would be gone. He immediately used his staff to draw a circle on the ground, quickly creating a defensive barrier. Outside the barrier, strong winds began to swirl. Suddenly, a purple crystal creature lunged forward, stabbing down hard on the barrier. A stream of red energy emanated from Haton's hand, and the ground beneath the monster began to crack. A giant fist erupted from the ground, breaking through earth and rock, and reached out to grab it. But the purple monster dissolved, transforming into a stream of blue energy that wrapped around the fist's arm. It then reformed and charged straight at Haton, slashing wildly all around the barrier and sending debris flying. Inside the barrier, Haton grimaced. So noisy it's deafening. Will you shut up already? He roared, activating his technique, Abyssal Protrusion. He created an explosive orb, shocking the purple monster. Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion erupted, but the purple monster still managed to escape. Haton was furious. Not even his chain lightning could connect. Of all the monsters I've ever met, this one is the fastest. On the other side, the purple monster was thinking to itself. That protective barrier is tough as hell. A normal slash does nothing to it. I can't break it from the outside. So what about the ground inside the barrier? With that thought, the purple monster began to dissolve into a stream of blue energy hovering in the air. Haton immediately looked toward that source of blue energy. He was on high alert. Suddenly, a sword shot up from the ground, causing Haton's eyes to widen in shock. In an instant, the purple monster used the sword to slice him in two. As Haton's face was split in two, he stood there stunned. The purple monster sneered, I see. The weak point of this barrier is right under your feet. But the monster suddenly stopped. A stone clone, huh? Damn it, I fell for the trap. The purple monster immediately leaped back to the ground, but was blocked by Haton's barrier. Now Haton and the purple monster were both standing inside it. The purple monster frowned. So you deliberately left the ground without a barrier this whole time just to lure me in here. But in a confined space like this, fighting me with the long spear is basically suicide. Just then, Haton's body began to radiate a red energy as he said, Who says you have to use a weapon to fight a monster? 100 forged adamant art. The purple monster charged forward, its voice full of confidence. Don't even think about opening this barrier to run away when you realize you can't win. It slashed at Haton, but he managed to block the attack. He continuously dodged the purple monster's attacks. Then Haton grabbed the monster's hand, but it still struggled, trying to unleash a flurry of blows. Haton slammed his fist into the ground. A wave of yellow energy erupted, knocking the sword from the purple monster's hand. It was stunned. What? Haton was about to punch it, but the purple monster had already turned into blue energy. Haton laughed loudly. So you turned invisible to run away because you knew you couldn't win, huh? What do you say, should I open the barrier to make it easier for you to escape? Just then, the purple monster's silhouette appeared behind him. It thought to itself, that bastard, I just want to peel the flesh from his bones right now. But I won't fall for another trap. I'll just stand perfectly still right here and see what you can do. That little wind-style trick of yours might work on your cannon fodder, but it's useless against me. My concealment art is on a whole other level. But then a red orb formed in Haton's palm. His voice was threatening. Still not coming out, are you? The purple monster saw it and was terrified. No way. Is he planning to use that? In a confined space like this? Isn't he afraid of getting blown up along with me? Instantly, Haton threw the red orb to the ground. In a flash, it exploded, shaking the very heavens and earth. The purple monster, grievously wounded, managed to escape. It thought to itself, I gathered all my demonic energy to defend, and I still ended up this badly injured. That kid must be seriously injured too. What's more, the barrier is gone. I can go back into hiding now. It wondered in confusion, why can't I use my concealment art? Just then, Haton grabbed the purple monster by its hair. He said, where do you think you're going? The fun's not over yet. The purple monster thought in terror, why is he completely unscathed? At that moment, Haton, with a determined look in his eyes, prepared to punch the monster. He recalled, at the instant of the explosion, stone shield. Something had pierced deep into Haton's abdomen, but suddenly the wound began to heal with incredible speed. He thought the Dragon King is using his power again. Purple Hair glanced at him suspiciously. How is he completely unharmed? Hackton stood behind him, a lock of his hair in hand. A golden core realm, blazing flame. Demoness appeared and spewed a torrent of fire. Purple Hair stood there and took the full force of the blaze as the flames roared violently. The suffocating heat seemed to tear space itself apart. Purple Hair was completely helpless, able to do nothing but watch the swirling lava-like orange-red light. The searing heat radiating from the flames engulfed everything. It made the very air seem to melt. Hackton watched the entire scene from above. He hid behind a large boulder, thinking, "Isn't this fire-breathing demon from that more difficult cave? What is it doing here?" His eyes widened in astonishment when he saw something. A blinding blue power erupted. A sharp, cold light tore through the stone surface, and a massive, giant blue rock appeared in front of Hackton. He turned to look behind him. He discovered the back of some enormous monster. But when he saw its entire body clearly, Hackton exclaimed in shock, "Why is the great demon from the third cave here too? A golden core realm, great ice demoness." His eyes lit up. He activated his divine sense and red circles spread out like shockwaves shaking the area. He spotted a group of 3 people standing quietly around a hidden corner. Hackton caught sight of them. So it really was those 3 pulling the strings, he thought. Without a second thought, he leaped up and charged straight toward the great ice demoness. But he just charged straight through. The great Hangu demoness unleashed streams of blue light that shot right for Haishin, but he vanished before they could even touch him. The purple-haired one was stunned by the sight. The streams of blue light flew straight toward the scorching flame demoness, but she punched them straight into the ground. A huge explosion erupted the moment they hit. The scorching flame. Demoness was frozen solid. Looking down from above, the purple-haired man thought to himself, "So he's using the ice to kill the demon, is he?" Suddenly, a burst of golden energy was released. The scorching flame demoness broke free from the ice and furiously spat out a torrent of fire. The flames flew towards the great Hangu demoness but were blocked. Everything in the fire's path was incinerated. Only the spot where the great Hangu demoness stood was completely unharmed. Both the scorching flame demoness and the great Hangu demoness were utterly shocked. Not understanding what was happening, the purple-haired man muttered, "What a couple of morons." The great Hangu demoness, enraged, fired off a blast of energy. The scorching flame demoness couldn't dodge in time and took a direct hit. She staggered back a few steps. From a distance, a figure appeared, drawing their attention. It was Haishin. He provoked them, "Come and get me." Hearing this, the scorching flame demoness and the great Hangu demoness rushed toward Haishin, relentlessly attacking like wild beasts about to break out of their cage. After taunting them, Haishin took off running, ignoring the ferocious attacks they launched from behind. 3 figures appeared in front of the cave entrance. Yi Hong pointed toward the mouth of the cave, puzzled. "Hey, why does the sound of fighting keep getting closer?" Tachan gritted his teeth and explained, "He's trying to lure all the great demons toward us. He must think we're idiots who don't know how to run away." He thought to himself, he was surrounded by 3 great demons and didn't die, and now he's trying to drag the monsters back this way. I guess this guy with connections actually has some skill. He gave an order, "Let's go. We'll pull back to the secret realm's entrance. The second something happens, we bolt." Just as To-chan took a few steps, the ground shook and a red light began to rise. To-chan was horrified. "A magic formation. It's a trap." Then a massive explosion like a giant mushroom cloud erupted. Chunks of rock and earth flew everywhere. To-chan moved quickly and managed to escape. Before being swallowed by the blast, he saw it had left a huge crater in the ground. Yi Hong was injured. One of her arms had been severed. She pleaded desperately with To-chan, "Hurry, heal my wound." But To-chan turned his back on her with a cold expression and walked away. Yi Hong couldn't believe it. "You—" A circle of light had enclosed the entire cave. To-chan spoke up. "When was this trapping barrier put in place?" A chill ran down his spine when he heard Haishin's answer. "Of course it was from the moment you started pretending to be so kind." Haishin walked in mocking him. "Did you really think I wouldn't take any precautions against you?" Enraged, To-chan unleashed his golden energy. "You dare set a trap for me!" Light art. Light burst bullet. Haishin countered. "How did you know I was planning to play the same game with you?" Prophecy spell, hidden movement. To-chan was shocked. "What do you mean?" Haishin suddenly disappeared. The light burst bullet that To-chan had summoned flew straight towards the shadow of a giant demon. It slammed into the scorching flame demoness's body, causing an explosion on her. To-chan couldn't believe what was happening. He was terrified as he stared at the monster. The scorching flame. Demoness glared at him as if he were an idiot. Flames erupted from her head in fury. The entire place descended into chaos. Flames spewed out, burning fiercely and sending everyone scrambling. It was a tragic scene. Yi Hong lay on the cold ground. "Save me." The fire grew larger and larger. It blazed, turning the sky crimson. Tachan collapsed to his knees, clinging to the ground. Suddenly, a brilliant light pierced through the dark screen of smoke and a loud voice echoed, "Shield of Light." Tachan struggled to stand between the two opposing forces. He yelled, "You're just going to leave me to fight two great demons by myself. Don't just stand there, help me." A frail figure stood unsteadily, swaying back and forth, pure terror reflected in their eyes. Xiatian's eyes widened. A sneak attack. Even with my level of cultivation, I didn't detect it. A long, sharp sword pulsing with dark energy was rushing toward him. Haishin stood firm, gripping the sword tightly in his hand. Tachan was horrified when he saw his silhouette. Behind a cliff, someone was watching silently. Xiaoling thought to herself, "The hidden shield is my life's ultimate technique. How did he know it just by looking? Fighting against someone like that? What are my chances of winning? This barrier only lets you in, not out. So should I go in or not?" Suddenly, a massive explosion occurred, shattering the cliff face into pieces. Then, numerous cannon-like blasts were fired repeatedly. Tachan was also fighting with all his might. He turned his mouth agape in bewilderment. The flames were still burning intensely. Another shield was being formed, accompanied by a voice, "Great Shield of Light." A small, thin shield appeared amidst the raging fire. With ice-cold eyes, he stood there observing. The battle was still incredibly tense and fierce. A treacherous, triumphant smile appeared from behind the curtain of smoke, revealing Tu Chan in his tattered clothes, using the great demon's attack to break the barrier, as if no one else knows how to use an enemy's strength against them. "No matter where you run, you won't get the chance to take the college entrance exam." Tachan pointed his finger. "Just you wait until I get out. I'll gather the masters of my sect, and every single person in your sect from top to bottom will die." Suddenly, a blade struck him from behind, wounding him. Xiaoling held the sword in her hand, calm amidst Tuchan's confusion. "You? A demon like you? Why would you help a cultivator?" Xiaoling glanced over. "That's right, who knows?" Tuchan collapsed to the ground as she watched. From behind him, a strange figure appeared. With a chilling gaze, Xiaoling shot a look in its direction. Abhorrent eyes stared wide in the darkness. Fire erupted fiercely once again. Xiaoling incinerated everything on the ground below. It was terrifying. But with a single slash from Xiaoling's sword, the creature was split in two. With swift, nimble movements, she finished it off in an instant. She unleashed a series of continuous sword strikes in a flash. Xiaoling moved fluidly with each slash. "Sir!" Sheathing her sword, she walked slowly across the ground. Xiaoling suddenly knelt, bowing her head low. "Sir," she said, "you are a cultivator. If you will have me, I wish to join your sect and follow you for the rest of my life." Bolts of lightning suddenly crackled above Tulin. Haktun looked over, wondering why she had suddenly surrendered mid-battle. She answered, "If that flame co-demon hadn't attacked, I would have been killed by you just now. I can see that you're different from other cultivators, my own abilities. You only had to see them once to use them proficiently when you challenged the sect master before. You are the youngest and most promising person I have ever met. And as it happens, those two foolish co-demons, I've disliked them for a long time. So I took the opportunity to offer you a pledge of allegiance. Here are their demon cores. I also gathered materials like Fierce Flame Co. and Cold Bone Grass for you." Haktun stared intently. "Using someone else's demon core as a pledge of allegiance, what kind of skill is that? If you've got real guts, hand over your own demon core." Hearing this, Tulin's eyes went wide with shock. He held the sword in his hand behind his back. Tulin clasped her trembling hands, her teeth chattering as she reached inside her own body and slowly pulled it out. Tuling said seriously, "This is your disciple's demon core. Please accept it, master." Just then, a voice echoed from inside the house. "Who's there so early in the morning?" Haktan pushed the door open and said, "Oh, it's you, Thien Hui." Thien Hui replied, "I was out for my morning exercise and dropped by to bring you some breakfast, master." He asked, puzzled, "Didn't I already give you a key? You could have just come straight in." "That wouldn't be right. You should always knock first," she retorted. "What if you were doing something weird in there, master?" Haktan shuddered and repeated, "Something weird." Thien Hui looked surprised. "Weird?" He explained, "I don't do weird things in my house." She cut him off. No, I mean this room, it gives me a strange feeling. It's like... Suddenly her guard went up as she sensed something was off. Tianhui quickly used her ability, clenching it tightly in her hand until it distorted. Tianhui came to a conclusion. There's a demon causing trouble. Tuling calmly said, I was just going to tap you on the shoulder to scare you. Although I didn't intentionally suppress my aura and my concealment shield technique wasn't at full power, you still managed to catch me. You've got some skills, senior sister. Tianhui was exasperated. Senior sister master, you accepted a demon as a disciple. Looks like you really were desperate. She opened a door. Well, since it's already done, I'm going to take a shower first. Just then, there was another knock on the door. Now, who could that be? Haktan asked. Who is it? The person outside replied, It's me, Vung Bin. He was surprised. Why would he show up all of a sudden? Haktan ordered, Quick, use your concealment and hide. The person at the door is also a cultivator. I don't know him well enough to predict how he'd react to seeing you. Suddenly, a look of panic crossed his face. Wait. The bathroom. And so Haktan went and opened the door. As Vung Bin's face appeared, he gave a faint smile. Haktan asked curiously, A rare guest. What brings friend Vung to my humble place? Vung Bin took something out and replied, Your letter of recommendation. He was thrilled, praising, You're a lifesaver, thanks so much. How did you know I needed this? He crossed his arms and replied, That day I heard you hadn't registered with a sect yet, so I went home and asked my family for a letter of recommendation. I figured if I couldn't recruit you into my sect, I might as well do a good deed and build a relationship from the ground up. Suddenly, Vung Bin's expression changed. Wait a minute. All that's missing are the challenges to the other sect masters. You've already taken care of it. He replied, That's right. He praised, Not bad, I knew you were strong, but I didn't expect you to be this strong. All right, I'll be going now. If you ever need my help in the future, you must come find me. Haktan agreed. All right, I will. Meanwhile, on the road, a car was moving quickly. The bodyguard asked curiously, Young master, you seem very interested in him. Vung Bin replied, He has great potential. The bodyguard wondered, Is it because of his lowborn status and the fact that he broke through to the condensation realm so early? That's right. He doesn't have the cultivation resources of a wealthy family. To have achieved this much is already incredible. But there are other condensation realm cultivators in this city with better backgrounds than him. The old master prefers the scholarly elites from our circle. Vung Bin retorted. Of course, the old master's ways must be respected, but I have my own standards. Besides, you follow me. If you keep bringing up the old master this and old master that, you might as well get lost. The bodyguard said worriedly, I misspoke just now. Your lesson is well received, young master. I will definitely listen to you from now on. He fell into deep thought, recalling the condensation realm. That feeling he gave me just now. I'm afraid he's already broken through to the Golden Core realm. Back at the house, the sect registration status page was now complete. Haktan looked at it with satisfaction. This is good. A thought that had been in his mind for a long time resurfaced. Speaking of which, those two have been in there for a long time. They've been in there long enough to scrub their skin off. What are you doing in there? Xiaoling remarked that the troublemaker was finally gone. Just then, she casually pulled open the curtain and Xiaoling gave a bewitching smile. Tianhui, who was bathing, was startled. What do you want? She replied, since we've both joined the sect. Shouldn't I test my senior sister's qualities? Her face turned red. What kind of behavior is this? Xiaoling acted like a rogue. Don't be shy. You were pretty decisive when you broke my invisibility earlier. Weren't you? Tianhe was speechless with anger. You... And then she attacked. Know your place. A moment later, a shout echoed through the apartment building, whose gas canister just exploded. He-Shin stood there, glancing at the chaos. He praised them sarcastically. You two really went all out. You almost destroyed my place. I've already paid the landlord for the repairs. The task of paying the rest is up to you. Since your demon core is with me, I'm giving you this simple mission for practice. Use the mission system to pay for the remaining compensation as the repair costs have been advanced. Xiaoling was surprised. I didn't follow you to do these boring chores. He reminded her, complete this mission well and I'll give you something better. Maybe I'll even give your demon core back to you. She shrugged in agreement. Fine. Tianhui, tying her hair beside them, said, This mission should be mine. After all, I was the one who attacked and damaged the house. Hai-Shin replied, I have a more important mission for you. I've advanced payment for the Blood Buddha seal. Go do this supplementary mission. She wondered, Blood Buddha seal. That's the same name as that dagger. He replied, correct. I've fused the effect of the Blood Buddha into the blood curse on you girls. From now on, you won't need to take out that dagger every time you fight. Instantly, a seal appeared on Tianhui's hand. She remembered, that's right. Isn't senior sister taking a long time on the weapon upgrade supplementary mission? Haishin scratched his head and explained, I assigned her another supplementary mission. Later, a curious voice echoed in the forest. Master, why are you singling out senior sister like that? Meanwhile, old Tao was exercising. Retirement is great. The pension is average, but I managed to get quite a bit before, so my life is still good. More importantly, I don't have to face vicious demons anymore. Suddenly, something strange appeared above his head. A huge monster opened its mouth towards old Tao. Just as it was about to bite him, it suddenly stopped. Unexpectedly, someone said, "You're blocking the exit. Scoot over a bit." And then it was attacked, its body mutating instantly. All of this was the work of Long Yin. The scene shifts to nightfall. Below are Long Yin and old Tao. He thought to himself, although I can't sense its exact grade, I'm certain this is a great demon. This demonic energy is stronger than that Mako from last time, which she took out with one kick. Has Long Yin had such a major breakthrough in just a few short months? Then old Tao spoke up. Long Yin, thank you for saving my life. But Long Yin asked doubtfully, who are you? He scratched his head and gave a forced laugh. You don't remember me? I'm your former department head. I've retired. She remembered. Oh, the old man who took my money to let me skip grades. Remember, no need to thank me for something so simple. You're lucky to have lived to retirement. Later, old Tao walked alone on a dark road. He pondered, if I return all the money I took before, my luck might improve even more. Old Tao decided to return the money he had received the next day. A moment later, his eyes caught something up ahead. A sense of unease grew in old Tao's heart. Something's wrong. If I remember correctly, the chemistry teacher should be on duty tonight. But I can't sense her spiritual energy. More importantly, there's a scent of blood in the air. From a street corner, strange sounds echoed. In that moment, a cloaked figure appeared before him. Old Tao pointed and scolded, "Which class are you two students from? Why aren't you home at night wandering in the alley behind the school?" The mysterious figure asked, "Which of your eyes sees us as students?" His eyes widened in horror. Old Tao saw a streak of blood under the figure's robe. The two sides stood frozen in place. He scratched his head and gave a forced laugh. Look at me. I forgot I'm already retired. My occupational habits are acting up again. Immediately after, old Tao quickly turned and fled, feeling deeply uneasy. This is bad. Normally I can sense whether an opponent is stronger or weaker than me. But these two, I can't sense anything at all. Just then, the person behind him yelled, "Stop!" Old Tao quickly dashed forward using the Godspeed technique. He left a large trail of smoke where he ran. Old Tao calculated, at this rate, I'll put a few hundred meters between us in no time and call for backup. But then the mysterious figure said, "Is that how fast a normal person can run at night? I almost thought you were a cultivator." Old Tao was shocked. My Godspeed technique. In his eyes, it's just... Then he attacked him with immense power. In the end, all that was left was the sound of a phone shattering. Those people started talking, "I told you we should have been more discreet. And you had to go and cause such a huge commotion. If this mission fails because of you?" The other guy replied, "I'm not going to ask the Great King to bail you out. I've already suppressed my magical power to the absolute minimum, so it won't wake anyone up nearby. Don't worry, I already put soundproofing talismans on the walls. The people inside won't hear a thing. Quick, clean up the scene and let's get out of here." A while later, they moved to a cliff. Then one of them spoke, his voice laced with danger. "This is the spot. When the time comes, we'll make our move." "Finally, it's my turn," one of them remarked while looking at the scene. "Time to make a name for myself, huh?" When the scene faded back in, Haktan was walking alone down the street, lost in thought. The disciples have all gone on missions to pay off the debts. I guess I'll have to go to school by myself to pick up the exam registration. Just then, a luxury car pulled up in front of Haktan. He stared confused by the sight, and then to his surprise, the door slowly opened. A man in the car spoke up. "Are you Haktan?" Haktan tensed and replied, "Yes, and you are." The bodyguard beside him shouted, "Are you blind? You don't even recognize the sect master of the 100 Refinements sect." "Never heard of it." Haktan was curious. "The 100 Refinements sect," the man interjected to defuse the situation. "Leave it. He transferred from the regular high school to the cultivation graduation class, so it's normal for him to be out of the loop. Let's get to the point. This is a letter of recommendation that will allow you to skip the spring selection and get directly into a cultivation university. Haktan thought, my luck is finally starting to turn around. For such a huge opportunity to suddenly fall into my lap. He looked at it stunned. This isn't for Thanbok University. The bodyguard pointed and shouted, "You ungrateful brat! Countless people would kill for this chance to skip the exam and get direct admission. And you have the nerve to be picky," the man said. "While it may not be Thanbok the university I'm recruiting you for, is still one of the top 100 cultivation universities. You need to understand the spring selection for cultivation students isn't like the college entrance exam for regular people. For them, it's one person, one test, and a high or low score doesn't put your life on the line. In the examination grounds for cultivation students, if you're not careful, you'll die," Haktan said confidently. "Even so, I still want to try. I think getting into the top 10... Haktan watched the car drive away. Shouldn't be a problem. Why did they just take off without letting me finish? That guy's even ruder than I am. Later in the car, the bodyguard asked curiously, "Sect Master, that kid is a stubborn one. But really, are you worried he'll affect the young master's ranking? The young master only ranked second in the last mock exam because he had an off day." The sect master replied, "I simply cannot allow anyone to refuse me. Go and make the arrangements. Make sure he doesn't make it to the examination grounds alive." The three of them were sitting in Haktan's living room. He began, "The spring selection is only 1 week away. We need to use this time to level ourselves up. If there are any techniques you want to practice or new inner arts you want to master but haven't been able to break through, you can write them all down. I'll advance them to you within my limits." The moment they heard his offer, the two of them shot up from their seats. Long An and Thien Hui returned carrying 2 mountain-high stacks of paper. Thien Hui said excitedly, "These are all the things we want to learn." Haktan was stunned. "This is so much. Looks like everyone is very diligent and eager to learn." From out of thin air, a small stack of papers appeared in Koan's hand. She draped an arm over Haktan's shoulder from behind. "Master, even though I'm a demon, I'm also very diligent and eager to learn. This is my study list. Please take a look, Master." Seeing Koan press herself against Haktan, Thien Hui's face flushed with anger. She scowled. "She's using her chest to attack Master again." Long An was also furious. "How despicable! I'll have to find a chance to deal with her later." That day in Haktan's house, only one word echoed, "Advance." The scene changes to a desolate wasteland where mysterious figures are carrying out some shady business. This talisman needs to be buried within the rock strata. We also need to add a chant to block spiritual senses. As soon as he finished speaking, the talisman on the rock vanished. The mysterious figure warned, "We can't afford a single mistake." Another accomplice asked, "By the way, isn't the location for the spring selection usually kept secret until the day of the exam? How are you so sure this is the place?" The other guy replied, "Let's just say that humanity isn't as united as you think." He continued, "That's right, the talismans are almost set. I'm taking a leave of absence." The other guy asked curiously, "A leave for what?" The mysterious man replied, "I took on a clan mission from the dark web to kill someone." Hearing this, his accomplice was stunned. "Are you that desperate for money? To even take on a job from a cultivator?" At that moment, Haktan's system displayed a notification, "Repay Advance for Formless Phantom." 1. Obtain qualifications to accept a disciple from the demon race. 2. Obtain the Formless Phantom Demon Core. 3. Cultivate the complete Formless Phantom technique. Haktan thought to himself, the advances for the basic techniques have all been assigned to the respective disciples to repay through missions. All that's left is Koan's Formless Phantom. To repay the intermediate steps, I'll have to go through the official cultivator procedures. I guess I'll have to handle this myself. Once this task is repaid, Koan will be able to operate legally in the human realm. He looked at the system panel. System suggestion. To repay the Formless Phantom, the required demon core must be obtained from the body of a Fenling, a golden core realm demon that excels at disguise. That's strange. Don't repayments usually take place in the Void Realm? But why is the suggested location out here in this desolate place? Suddenly, he sensed a presence from above. The mysterious man was studying a piece of paper. "So it's you." In his hand was a wanted poster of Haktan drawn like a caricature. The mysterious man threatened him, Someone put a price on your head. Don't blame me for this. Hackton wondered who this guy was. The man was just muttering, and he couldn't sense any aura from him whatsoever. Suddenly, the mysterious man leaped off the high cliff. Hackton's eyes widened in surprise at his opponent's speed. In the blink of an eye, he was right behind him. His eyes were bloodshot. Your reactions are slower than that old man running last night. A massive blast of energy shot out from his eyes with just a single attack. He tore a huge swath of land in two, but suddenly the mysterious man froze, unable to continue his attack. Somehow, Hackton had already dodged it. He even grabbed his head with ease. "What?" the man said calmly. "What do you think you're doing? You attacked before you even finished introducing yourself. Who are you? And who put out the bounty?" The mysterious man's pride was stung. His face darkened as he unleashed an immense wave of power. "How dare you look down on me?" Hackton quickly leaped back. From within the thick cloud of dust, the mysterious man's eyes appeared. He lunged toward Hackton, throwing a kick at him, but it was easily dodged. He quickly regained his balance. Preparing to launch another attack, he unleashed a kick even more powerful than the last, but Hackton still effortlessly dodged it. The mysterious man's attacks were devastating, shattering the surrounding rock and earth. He prepared to unleash a finishing blow. "You don't dare face my magic head-on. Is running all you know this next massive area of effect attack? We'll leave you with nowhere to hide light shield. Light division." Hackton's expression didn't change at all. A wide-range attack was unleashed, a massive wave of crimson power shooting out. His attack made the ground tremble violently. An accomplice watching from the sidelines exclaimed, "Why is he using his ultimate move already? Who on earth did this guy take a contract on?" The sky itself was stained a faint red by his technique when his attack finally ended. The spot where Hackton had been standing was now just a pile of ashes. The mysterious man let out a sigh of relief. His aura is completely gone. The order is complete. The reward, a case of high-grade spirit stones, is almost mine. Just as he was celebrating, he panicked, seeing Hackton's figure emerge from the smoke. What? Although the surrounding ground was completely shattered, the spot where Hackton stood didn't have a single crack. He hadn't even moved. Hackton spoke, "I just wanted to see if your techniques were worth my time. That last move was actually a little interesting. Without a barrier, it would have been impossible to block." The mysterious man was stunned. "He blocked it with a defensive barrier. But why couldn't I sense any living aura?" He explained, "Because the one you were talking to isn't actually a living person." As he finished speaking, Hackton's form revealed itself to be a stone statue. It was only then that the mysterious man realized. A substitute body. This is bad. He immediately turned to flee. "I'll just pretend I made a mistake. I'll get that bounty another day." But he wasn't getting away. A fist appeared in midair as Hackton materialized out of nowhere. With a powerful swing, he slammed his fist into the mysterious man's stomach. The blow caved his entire body inward. With just one punch, Hackton sent his opponent flying 1,000 miles. A system notification appeared. "So Lin has been eliminated." The mysterious man reverted to his true form, a goat. The system announced, "Received So Lan's demon core. Attributes light and camouflage." He looked at the demon core in his hand. "No wonder I couldn't detect him before. A goat demon. This camouflage attribute is really powerful. A dual attribute demon core is also pretty rare. Maybe I'll give this out as a bonus to everyone during our next team building day." As he was feeling pleased with himself, a wanted poster was blown by the wind and landed right in front of him. Hackton picked it up and was taken aback by the ugly drawing of himself on it. He fumed, "This doesn't look anything like me." The scene changes to the spring recruitment examination grounds located in a desolate, barren desert. A rumbling sound echoes. Why hasn't it started yet? We're waiting for the head examiner to begin. That's right. This year's spring recruitment is especially important. The young geniuses from all the major sects have shown explosive talent. The rumbling continued. "Hey, why is there a row of seats up front? That's the waiting area. Candidates who are about to take the test will wait there." A boy pointed, confused. "You can tell that person isn't a candidate. How can an outsider get into the examination hall?" A girl replied. "That's the girlfriend of young Master Lai. Disciples of the major sects can request permission to bring family members." Mao Qiu sighed. "I'm so jealous." Ngok Lin continued the story. "I heard she's older than him by several years, and to snag a young disciple from a major sect, she even dumped her old boyfriend." The conversation continued. Her ex-boyfriend was probably some poor, destitute loser. When a disciple from a major sect steals your girlfriend, you just have to accept your fate. Ngoklin scoffed. What else could he do? Go pick a fight with his rival. Who knows how that would have ended for him? Suddenly, she stopped mid-sentence. Oh, crap. Mao Qiu was confused. What's wrong? Ngokling looked behind him. A sudden wave of killing intent washed over them. Not understanding what was happening, Mao Qiu slowly turned his head. It was the trio Haktan, Tianhui, and Long An. They were staring at him with murderous eyes. Haktan, in particular, was giving Mao Qiu a furious glare. The boy turned pale. But, brother, why are you looking at me with such a death glare? Haktan walked away. Tianhui reminded him. Master, I think someone mentioned you being short. Long An spoke up. Poor. Koan also chimed in. And they said your ex-girlfriend dumped you just to cling to a disciple of a major sect. Haktan said nothing and just walked ahead. Ngoklin wondered, what's gotten into him all of a sudden? Mao Qiu trembled. I think I just stepped on a huge landmine. At that moment, Lahong also noticed Haktan's arrival. She looked through her glasses and saw Haktan sitting opposite her, her eyes widening in shock. Lahong took off her sunglasses. Isn't that the loser Haktan? Why is he sitting in the top-tier student section? His cultivation aptitude is practically zero. Could it be that some kind of miracle occurred? Did he suddenly awaken some miscellaneous ability? Defying fate itself, huh? Impossible. It must be the same as me. He latched onto some girl from a major sect, just trying to sneak into the front seats to take some pictures and show off online. Quan Hao asked, what's wrong? An acquaintance. Gok Lin denied it. No, I must be mistaken. Besides, you young master, how could I possibly know him or any of the other students? A man stepped out from behind the gate, and the entire school fell silent. I will now announce the rules. This spring's entrance exam will use a team-based single combat system. The team with the highest total score will advance to the subsequent knockout round. Matches will be held in pairs until a champion is decided. Voluntarily forfeiting will result in a loss. If the judge determines you cannot continue, you will also lose. After a loss has been declared, you are not allowed to continue attacking your opponent. Tianhui asked curiously, is that the Grandmaster Haktan also remarked, probably, he has the very air of an immortal sage. Bang An remained indifferent. Whatever. After finishing the announcement, Van Trong turned and reported respectfully, Grandmaster Sir, may we officially begin? Van Trong was bowing before a young man whom he called Grandmaster. The youth rested his chin on his hand and casually ordered, all right, you may begin. Immediately, an announcement was made. The competition begins. Haktan glanced at the match roster. Oh, it looks like we're all fighting last in our respective groups. Van Trong announced, Group A, numbers 1 and 2 step forward. Ton Min spoke, so you're my first opponent in the group stage, huh? Ton Min, a disciple of the Ba. The sect had already taken his stance. My fists and feet have no eyes. If I accidentally kill you, don't blame me. Sanam Tien. A disciple of the Tholin sect replied without fear, bring it on. Ton Min challenged, let's see how long you can keep that calm look on your face. He gathered his strength, deciding to charge in and attack first. Ton Min threw a punch right at Nam Thien's face. He was lucky enough to jump back and dodge Ton Min's fatal blow. Nam Thien was surprised. So fast, plus that punch packed a lot of killing power. He quickly assumed a defensive stance, Earth style. Instantly, the stone floor of the arena cracked into countless fragments. Large chunks of stone flew straight into the air. Boulder rain. As he spoke, a barrage of large rocks hurtled towards Ton Min. He easily dodged all of Nam Thien's attacks. Ton Min stated confidently, in terms of speed alone, I can keep up with someone a whole realm above me. You're not going to stop me. He rushed forward, unleashing a left leg sweep that forced Nam Thien to leap into the air. To avoid the attack, Ton Min said excitedly, now I've forced you into the air. Let's see how you dodge now. Nam Thien calmly replied, I may have nowhere to dodge, but you have nowhere to land. Just then, a shocked Ton Min looked down. What? Beneath his feet, the ground had sunk at some point, forming a giant, deep pit. Earth-style perilous terrain technique. Just like that, Ton Min fell straight into the deep pit created by Nam Thien. The announcement rang out, the winner is Za Nam Thien of the Tholin sect. The Tholin sect members applauded with satisfaction. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That was one of the finest students from our school Tholin High. We welcome everyone to refer their relatives to study with us, and you'll even get a finder's fee. Van Fong clicked his tongue. That old geezer from the Tho Lin sect. He really never misses an opportunity to recruit people. The Grandmaster rested his chin on his hand. The Tho Lin sect. That's the high school that specializes in training cultivators, isn't it? He immediately replied, That's right. On the surface, their matriculation rate seems quite good, but they severely deplete their students' potential. After entering university, it's very difficult for them to keep up. Therefore, the universities under my management are generally unwilling to accept students from high schools of their quality. The Tho Lin sect announcer shouted, On-site recovery is complete. Group A, numbers 3 and 4 advance. Thien Hui stepped into the arena. Fists and feet have no eyes. Kung Luk stood opposite her. Enough with the chatter. A purple smoke began to flow from her opponent's hand. No need for pleasantries. This arena is a battlefield. Risking your life is the best attitude to have. Kung Luk rushed forward so fast it seemed to tear through the air. She threw 2 daggers at Thien Hui, who quickly dodged them. Kung Luk materialized another dagger and leaped in front of Thien Hui, slashing as she moved. She brought the dagger down hard, but Thien Hui simultaneously drew her sword to block the attack. The two continuously exchanged blows and parried each other's strikes. Metal clashed against metal, sending out fierce sparks. But it seemed Thien Hui was more agile, each of her slashes as sharp as lightning. Kung Luk managed to parry the blows, but it was a clear struggle. She was slashed across the chest and fresh blood sprayed out. Pressing her advantage, Thien Hui lunged forward. Her body spun with the momentum of her attack. Kung Luk was sent flying into a wall. The pressure from the powerful blow was so strong that the ground in front of her cracked, sending dust and debris flying. She propped herself up with one hand on the ground. Hey, watch where you're slashing! Kung Luk slowly got to her feet. Don't make me go from a C cup to an A cup after this is over. She thought to herself, I originally thought this was just a simple group test and I wouldn't need to use my ultimate move. But now it seems I have no choice. She stomped her foot on the ground to gather her power. Then Kung Luk sprang into the air, spun around, and swung her sword down. Thien Hui looked up at her. Didn't anyone ever tell you an attack like this is way too easy to counter? She planted her feet to steady her body. The 2 swords clashed, the impact so strong the ground cracked and began to sink. Sparks flew. Kung Luk, full of excitement, grunted. Thien Hui didn't seem to notice anything unusual. Multiple blades pierced her body and fresh blood spurted out. She gritted her teeth, her whole body trembling. This is... Kung Luk looked at her arrogantly. Obsessive thrust. Take a guess where that black sword I threw earlier went. Did you really think I missed my mark? In reality, the sword she'd thrown had stabbed deep into the ground and slowly moved towards Thien Hui's feet. Kung Luk looked up. Hey, why haven't you called it looking like this? Even if she isn't dead, she's crippled. Hurry up and declare me the winner. Van Trong looked down. Her skills aren't bad, but her perception is a bit lacking. Hearing this, she turned around in shock. It turned out what had been stabbed wasn't Thien Hui, but her own sword. Kung Luk was stunned. It's the hidden body blade. Thien Hui's gaze was as sharp as a knife. She spread her arms and rushed forward, striking Kung Luk with a hand chop. It sent her flying off balance. The powerful blow kicked up a cloud of dust. Kung Luk's eyes rolled back as she coughed up mouthfuls of fresh blood sent soaring through the air. Her feet scraped along the ground, the intense friction causing it to crack and crumble. A long trench was gouged into the earth where she'd been knocked back. Just as Kung Luk regained her balance, she saw Thien Hui flying towards her fast enough to rip through the wind. Blood was still pouring from Kung Luk's mouth. Did you think flying up into the air would let you dodge my attack? Huh. As she spoke, she hurled out a barrage of purple glowing objects. Obsessive javelins. You used your weapon as a hidden body. Let's see what you'll use to block my attack now. The streams of purple light weaved their way towards Thien Hui. She was enveloped by the light, forming a sphere around her, crisscrossed by layers of chains. Kung Luk laughed confidently. You have nowhere to run, ha ha ha. Suddenly, the chains began to crack. She couldn't believe it, her jaw dropping. Thien Hui spread her arms wide, and one by one green slashes tore Kung Luk's sphere apart. Iron wall blade formation. Her eyes seemed to glow. She formed a hand sign. Iron wall blade flakes. The ground shook as the green light began to gather into a massive sphere. Kung Luk quickly drew her hands back to build momentum. She slashed forward powerfully. The streams of purple light were even thicker than before. Obsessive, chaotic arrows. The two forces rushed forward and slammed into each other, mixing together. The wind roared and debris flew everywhere. Van Trong stood silently witnessing it all. After the two lights vanished, only a giant crater remained in the ground. Honglok lay unconscious on the ground, her body battered and torn. Hua Tianhui is the winner. A member of the organizing committee came forward and checked Honglok's neck. The contestant still has a pulse. Quick, get her to the medical room. Van Trong stood solemnly. He hadn't needed to intervene. In such a fierce battle, it wasn't uncommon for a contestant to be killed by their opponent, yet this one had intentionally kept her composure. Hua Tianhui had left a very deep impression. Long An's lips curled into a smile. Tianhui noticed her smirk and quickly turned to Haktan. "Senior sister, what's with that look?" She replied, "The next one in her group is up. Looks like she's feeling excited." At that moment, an announcement began. "Next match, Group B number 1 versus number 2. Before he could finish, Long An cut him off. She raised a hand high. "Wait a minute." This action confused Tianhui and Haktan. Van Trong was surprised. "Oh, and who's making all this noise?" Long An was extremely confident. "There's no need to be so troublesome. If we just keep fighting like this, it'll just waste everyone's time. Why don't we just settle Group B in one go? The other 3 can all come up at once." Everyone who heard was stunned. "What, did I hear that right? This student wants to fight 1-on-3. Is she crazy? Winning a 1-on-1 is already a blessing, and she wants to fight 3 at once. So someone thinks the difficulty is too low and wants to raise the intensity herself, huh? The rules are rigid things after all. If she wants to fight 1-on-3, then just let her." Van Trong was furious. "Insolent are the rules of the spring tournament, something you can just change on a whim. What school are you from now?" Suddenly, the Grandmaster cut in. "Proctor, it has been a bit dull so far. How about we change things up a little? Let's add a little excitement to this year's spring tournament." He immediately replied, "Yes, Grandmaster. All 4 members of Group B advance." 3 identical brothers walked out onto the field together. Thu Bin scoffed, "What kind of blind idiot?" "Put the 3 of us brothers in the same group," Thu Bin agreed. "Yeah, what blind idiot was it?" Thu At chimed in, "Some blind idiot." Thu Jap continued, "Forget it, it doesn't matter. Even if we don't make it past the group stage, as long as we finish in the top 5 of the losers bracket, we'll still get a chance to participate in the next advancement matches. Our top priority right now is to eliminate this arrogant maniac first." His 2 younger brothers chimed in. "Eliminate this arrogant maniac first." "Eliminate her first?" Thu Bin gathered red energy in his hands. "Big brother, let me handle this. To dare demand a 1-on-3, I can take care of her all by myself." He spread his legs wide and used his power to create a giant bear. Bear, spirit, war, roar. Defense increased. Strength increased. Long An stared. "What kind of trick is this?" Tianhui spoke up. "This is the spirit control technique. It allows the user to invite the soul of a worshipped spirit beast to enter their body, granting them a portion of the beast's combat power." Haktan listened intently. "Sounds pretty powerful, huh?" she said. "This type of magic requires a devoted heart and a cultivation level of 15 to reach their level. It also gives them an advantage when dealing with cultivators who don't know spirit control techniques. When this technique is cultivated to its highest level, it can even call down deities to the mortal realm." Haktan happily crossed her arms. "It can summon gods, you say, heh heh." Tianhui found her laugh a little strange. Why does Master look so happy about that? The bear slammed its foot into the ground, shattering it, and charged like the wind towards Long An. Just as its fist was about to connect, she planted both hands on the ground for leverage and kicked the bear with immense force, sending it flying into the wall, which exploded in a cloud of dust and debris. Thu Bin was using the bear to project his voice just now. "Weren't you the one boasting you wanted to fight all 3 of us? So why are you dodging my raging bear charge?" Suddenly it was as if he saw something. His eyes shot open. Long Yin, with eyes sharp as blades, raised a fist and charged toward him. She laughed with glee. "Ha, Thu Bin charged forward too. I can shatter even a small mountain. What makes you think you can?" Before he could even get close, Long Yin landed a brutal punch, smashing him hard into the wall. The imprint of her fist was seared onto his cheek as he spat out mouthfuls of fresh blood. Thu Jap was stunned. His beast spirit has the strongest defense in our tier, yet he was beaten until he coughed up blood. Thu At was also shocked. Coughed up blood, Thu Bin was now furious. He clenched his fists tightly. "Ha ha! I'm going to kill you!" Long Yin swiftly raised a hand to block the punch. She scoffed. Your punch feels like hitting cotton. Thu Bin was stunned, his eyes wide in disbelief. Long Yin flexed her arm muscles and slammed a powerful punch into his stomach. The sheer friction from the blow made the ground tremble, and sand and dust swirled up like a storm. The two remaining brothers were both shocked. This girl... Shh! She actually gained the upper hand. Could she be an elite body cultivation student to have such destructive power with just one punch? From within the smoke, a figure dimly appeared. Thu Bin was still standing, the deep imprint of the punch on his stomach. The two brothers laughed triumphantly. No wonder you're our third brother. You always end up the last one standing. The last one standing. He then collapsed onto the ground. Seeing him down, Long Yin looked bored. He's not even putting up a fight. Seeing their younger brother defeated Thu Jap and Thu At, both of them stared wide-eyed, their mouths agape, utterly speechless. Long Yin put a hand on her hip. Stop wasting everyone's time. You two get up here. Mac Van spoke up. This year's spring martial arts tournament is more interesting than the previous ones. For a team battle to be this intense already, Trong Da thought to himself, this Long Yin's strength cannot be underestimated. Just another stepping stone on my son's path to advancement. The scene shifts to a place filled with intense, swirling dust. Thu Bin and Thu At intentionally exchanged a look. Then he charged forward at high speed. Thu Bin used the technique Serpent Spirit Illusion Eyes. Seeing this, Long Yin's pupils involuntarily widened. Behind her, a massive, ferocious snake appeared. Long Yin's expression couldn't hide her bewilderment. In that moment, countless arrows shot forward, getting closer and closer, bearing down on her. But with a single wave of her hand, Long Yin began to counter. The arrows attacked her even more fiercely. Long Yin analyzed, why can't I get a lock on him? Is there something wrong with my vision? No, it's the illusion technique. It's messing with my senses. That spirit serpent is gone now too. That must have also been an effect of the illusion. At that moment, a blood-stained, sharp object was quickly thrown to the ground. A new beast spirit appeared, porcupine spirit thorns. Thu Bin approached smugly. Let's see you block this. Countless arrows were fired once again. Long Yin cursed, if my senses are in disarray, then I just have to act opposite to my intuition. She gathered her strength and launched herself forward. Long Yin understood. Of course, all I have to do is move my body in the opposite way of what my eyes are seeing. She firmly established in her mind, left is right, up is down. Then Long Yin threw a punch, meeting the attack head-on. A huge cloud of dust erupted from the ground after their attacks collided. Sharp spikes stabbed forcefully into the ground. The sound of blood dripping onto the ground echoed. Long Yin was bewildered as a sharp object pierced her body. She was confused. I reversed everything. So why did I still get hit? Thien Hui spoke up. How could this be? Senior sister already figured out the illusion's pattern, didn't she? Hak Tan answered. He must have changed the rules of the illusion's chaos. He's hiding up there. He's secretly manipulating Long Yin's senses. Should I secretly send her a message through the blood seal? But doing that would be considered cheating. Meanwhile, the beast spirit user had the upper hand. He said smugly, no matter how you react, I can change the rules of the illusion at will. You're dead for sure. The blood-stained spikes were thrown to the ground. Above Long Yin's head, countless arrows were preparing to fall. They emitted a brilliant light and began to merge. Then they combined, growing larger. The beast spirit user said excitedly, Here's a big one just for you. Long Yin told herself, I'm certain. No matter how I dodge or defend, he can mess with my senses at will. Just then she reached out her hand, touching her power. Long Yin's body moved gracefully in its own unique way. The beast spirit user laughed loudly. This ultimate move of yours seems pretty impressive, huh? Long Yin gave a faint smile in response. You could say that. For this move, I actually need to close my eyes. She stood perfectly still, sensing the object approaching her. He laughed smugly. That's right, just like that. Accept your fate. But Long Yin suddenly unleashed a palm of fire, a prepayment attack. A massive amount of her power began to be released. Long Yin had sensed the direction of the arrow and reached out her hand. Got it. The object suddenly vanished in front of Long Yin. The guy's face turned pale. She accurately caught the real thorn. What the hell is number 2 doing? Why isn't the illusion working? Thien Hui spoke up. It's not that the illusion failed. It's a prepayment type technique. She directly predicted the outcome of catching the real thorn. A massive explosion erupted on the other side of the arena. Long Yin powerfully crushed the sharp thorn in her hand. Then she slammed the ground, precasting a fire palm. The terrified beast spirit swung its palm right where it stood. Anyway, I've already created a safe distance. Just then the attack shattered and spread through the air. Van Trong froze at the sight. Truong Da was confused. What kind of technique is this? It's not a long-range spell. It's a spell cast on the spot that can hit a distant opponent. Mac Van continued, Sect Master Truong. Who told your sect to only focus on physical cultivation and not study magic? You've fallen behind the times, haven't you? You should learn from our sect. We understand everything from the techniques of the righteous sects to the dark arts of the unorthodox paths. He was annoyed. Then you tell me what kind of magic is this? Put on the spot, the old man just coughed and pretended not to hear. Jia Bao thought to himself, no wonder the two great sect masters are so clueless. This magic was clearly passed down ages ago. Even I have only ever heard of it. You predict the outcome of an attack first, and only then do you supplement the attack motion or the path of movement. They say it's a tactic from the ancient era, from some immortal. But that immortal probably went into seclusion hundreds of years ago. This student doesn't even look 20 years old. Where did she learn a technique like this? Meanwhile, Long On leaped high into the air, preparing to land on the beast spirit. A system notification chimed, predicted attack path Fire Fist, complete. Across the field, Beast B's body began to tremble uncontrollably. He blurted out, her magic is like a cheat code. How the hell am I supposed to fight this? Beast B screamed, Honorable Judge, I surrender. The crowd erupted in murmurs. What's going on? He actually surrendered. If it were me, I'd surrender too. It's like she had the answer written down before even seeing the question. Yeah, if it were me, I'd probably chicken out too. It's a 1-on-3 fight, and she has a broken spell like that on top of it all. This Long On is probably the strongest contender in this team competition. An announcement rang out. Next group 2 numbers 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Long An was walking over to Hak Tan. She instructed him, Master, I've set an example for you. Now it's your turn. You're the star of the show. Next group 3 numbers 3 and 4. Mac Van commented, this duel is the most anticipated match of the team competition. Right. Hak Tan was number 1 in the last simulation competition. And Quan Hao, although he had a rough start in his first 2 matches, is still considered one of the geniuses, the most talented of his generation. What do you think? Sect Master Truong Da's eyes narrowed unconsciously. Hak Tan? Time flashes back a few months to a brightly lit building. He asked angrily, well, have you found him yet? The subordinate replied, reporting to the sect master, we've searched all over the mountain. There's no sign of the third young master. The security cameras inside and outside the villa were also destroyed beforehand. Annoyed, he asked, are you telling me there are no leads at all? The man replied, well, there is one indirect lead. Both the third young master and the second young master were connected to the same person. Before the second young master Tringan went missing, he was this person's superior. And before that, the third young master Bok Tri was his classmate. The two of them had conflicts. Truong Da asked, what is his name? The subordinate answered, Hak Tan. His face immediately twisted with intense hatred. Truong Da thought, this little brat. He must be connected to the disappearance of my 2 sons, and to think he rejected my generous offer back then. How dare he stand in my eldest son's way? I'll make sure he dies in this spring selection tournament. On the other side, Hak Tan said, are you sure you want to fight me? Just then, someone cheered, go Quan Hao. Lahong screamed, yeah, beat that worthless piece of trash to death. Quan Hao gave a thumbs up in response. He said, I admit you're strong, but it's not like I'm completely helpless. During this time, I've been cramming too. Quan Hao unleashed his opening move. Blood Fury Charge, Thien Hui said worriedly. He's definitely improved a lot since the last competition. Long On replied, has he? I can't tell. She sighed in exasperation. Senior sister, you of all people should be able to see the problem. You weren't here for the last simulation competition, were you? Van Trong exclaimed, the young master is at it again? As expected of a monstrous talent, he refuses to lose to his peers. He clenched his fist, gathering power. Then I'll get a little serious, too. With a fierce expression, Quan Hao charged, unleashing a massive amount of magic at Hak Tan. But from within the shimmering light, a fist shot out. He, completely calm, extended a single hand to counter. The clash resulted in a massive explosion that rocked the arena. Afterward, smoke and dust obscured the entire scene. On the sidelines, her hand trembled continuously. Lahong muttered, annoyed, with an attack that powerful? There's no way that piece of trash survived that, right? The young master definitely won, didn't he? But in the crater, Hak Tan stood, having blocked the attack with a single hand. She was furious. What? He matched his power. Thien Hui corrected her. It wasn't a match. Stunned, she asked, Huh? What? Down in the arena. Quan Hao's eyes widened in disbelief. He took my full power attack with just one hand, even though I had prepared myself mentally. Is this gap in power even reasonable? Wait a minute. Before he countered my move just now, didn't he crush an electric orb? His hand held behind his back was forming a magic orb. Quan Hao panicked at the realization. I'm so dead. Hak Tan unleashed a powerful blast at Quan Hao. He glanced back in a panic. At this distance, he missed. A huge blast of magic shot right past him. Van Trong seemed to realize something wasn't right. Your magic hasn't weakened at all. Then an explosion occurred, engulfing the entire scene. Afterwards, the dust gradually settled, revealing a desolate landscape. The pillars shook and a huge crater appeared in the ground. The crater was so deep it looked like it could swallow the sky. The audience was shocked by the sight. One man's body trembled uncontrollably as he shouted, Hak Tan, what are you trying to do? You almost hurt the students sitting in the stands. Suddenly, Jia Bao's sharp eyes noticed a small figure rushing over from the other side of the path. The crack in the ground continued to spread. The mysterious person thought, is he trying to rush me, but I've hidden myself so well. If that's the case, I'll strike first. A blast of fire was unleashed forward, but it was blocked by Jia Bao. His voice trembling, he said, Grandmaster, even if you kill me... The Baotak Mansion's defenses here will also activate. He emphasized, the Grandmaster has never been one to be threatened. Then Jia Bao unleashed the 10,000 Arts Forbidden Seal. The rat was immediately enveloped in the Forbidden Circle. Trong Da was affected and bewildered. What even I'm caught? The Forbidden Zone began to expand into countless corners, its power strongly enveloping the entire space. The system displayed 10,000 Arts Forbidden Seal prohibits all magic. That power dyed the space a purple color. The rat screamed, all my explosive talismans, my explosions, they've all been nullified. Is this the true power of a Grandmaster? Jia Bao silently witnessed everything. Then his body gently vanished and reappeared back in his seat. Jia Bao ordered, have the damaged wall repaired. Continue the examination, he replied. Understood. Van Trong announced, HTN is victorious. Quan Hao was horrified, to think I could be as strong as him. In the end, it was just my own delusion. 3 days later, he announced, the group stage matches have concluded. Below are the names of the 8 people advancing to the quarterfinals. The remaining matches will be conducted in a direct single-elimination format, 8-4, 4-2, fighting directly to determine the final champion. The expressions on his face and Chithe's were vastly different. Just then, Hak Tan raised his hand high. Reporting Van Trong was bewildered. What is it now? He replied, I want to fight all 8 contestants alone. He thought what the 1 versus 3 in the group stage was already pushing it. And now you dare to fight 1 versus 7 in the quarterfinals, Grandmaster? What is your opinion? Van Trong asked. Jia Bao agreed. No problem. This year's spring tournament is getting really interesting. First, we will determine the champion. After that, we will hold matches to decide the 2nd through 7th places, he announced. Will the 8 contestants who have advanced to the quarterfinals please step forward? Hak Tan wondered, why is that? Are you two not competing this time? Thien Hui replied, in any case, we are no match for Master. If we went up there, Master would have to worry about us and his hands would be tied. It's better for us to just compete for 2nd through 7th place. A moment later, he leaped onto the highest cliff to observe. He glanced over the crowd before him. Fine Yan said, who gave him the confidence to say he can defeat all of them alone? All the quarter-finalists at that. The height of arrogance. Thien Nam replied, everyone who made it to the quarterfinals is basically a future successor of their sect, even with his 2 disciples not participating. A 1-on-5 fight is simply a death wish. Chithi stepped forward. What's with all the mumbling? Are you waiting for him to say you're all dead? Oh, he was the first to charge towards him. Chithe unleashed his furious rage fist, but Hak Tan quickly dodged to the side. His footsteps were firm as he pushed off the ground to gain momentum. Hak Tan stood before a giant crater. Unwilling to lose, Thien Nam used the treacherous ground art. He nonchalantly said, treacherous ground, then I'll just fly. But just then, he looked up and saw the figure of Diep Ten. Ha! She said. Did you think you were the only one who could fly? Deep Tan spun her fan, radiating a fierce power. Ha! She used the maximized magic fungus silk capture net. Haktan stood there watching the magic approach, then calmly jumped down a bit. He was surprised. What, this thing can home in on you? Then Haktan's body was pinned to the rock beside him. On the other side, Tangtu stood high above, ready. He launched his weapon, the bone-piercing lance. Then an explosion occurred, obscuring everyone's vision. Vuong Bin asked, "Is he finished?" He replied, "We'll have to wait for the smoke to clear to be sure." "Come to think of it, you haven't made a single move since the beginning. Are you colluding with our dear classmate Haktan?" He laughed. "What do you mean by that?" "I'm just slow to react. By the time I was about to make my move, you experts had already taken care of everything." Vuong Bin looked off into the distance. "Haktan, this is as much as I can help you. You'd better not kick the bucket." When everything cleared, they saw Haktan with his head bowed. Tangtu was satisfied. "As expected of my fatal blow." But just then he opened his eyes wide. He was panicked by the sight. "What?" Thien Nam was terrified. "Is this also one of the Grandmaster's ultimate techniques? Could it be? Could it be?" he screamed. "That he's related to the Grandmaster?" Then countless swords were unleashed. The entire sky was filled with Haktan's immense spiritual power. When it was all over, all that remained was a shattered landscape. The ground had taken a heavy blow and smoke was rising. The people who were so aggressive just moments ago were now defeated. Vuong Bin thought, he only used